Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Blackhawk Farms, stop number 3 of the Bagger Racing League Championship Series. We find ourselves in the beautiful South Beloit, Illinois area, and the crowd has been pouring in droves all season long with us, and they continue to make sure that the BRL is the #1 stop in the Harley-Davidson versus Indian road racing world. Parts Unlimited showed up in a big way. They brought their entire corporation out to spend the day with us here at Blackhawk. And you can see the heat rising from the track here at Blackhawk Farms. We're getting ready to kick off the race action, and the teams have been all weekend long working on the bikes. They had a giant track day on Friday. And these tracks here really had an outstanding thing. And folks, I want to take you back to the opening ceremonies and how we kicked off this historic day here at Blackhawk Farms. Alex Fox and Paula Fox there, part of the Parts Unlimited Le Mans empire, paying tribute to Fred Fox, who the industry lost just a short time ago. Alex brought the Drag Specialties Fat Book cover bike out onto the facility for Memorial Lap for one of the most influential, interesting, and outstanding leaders of the V-twin metric world industry, Fred Fox. His company certainly set the tone for what the aftermarket industry would hold. And Alex Fox here, Stan Fox's son, with Fred Fox's brother, took the cover bike that his company, Sly Fox, built, and they headed out on the track. The familiar number 9 you see on there was Stan Fox's number that he made famous in his midget and IndyCar days, and Alex Fox was certainly honored to be able to represent Fred Fox. This lap certainly is a memoriam to one of the best in the industry, and I'm sure that everybody that's been out there for motocross, supercross, road racing world, even MotoGP knows that the Le Mans company's motto is "We support the sport," and they've been doing a great job. A lot of emotion there for Alex Fox. He spent a great deal of time with Fred Fox, and they together helped form the Sly Fox brand that built the cover bike. And at the completion of this memoriam lap, we decided that's not enough. So we brought Alex Fox down to the start line one more time, and we wanted to make sure that the Red Flag Fund had a lot of support. Jenny Stencil and the crew collected some money, and we decided that Alex Fox's day wasn't done. The memorial was outstanding, but we had a little something up our sleeve. How about the very first Harley-Davidson CVO to ever take to the racetrack? Paul Langley there, the chairman of the board of the Le Mans Corporation, a big Indian fan and supporter, decided to take the Lloyd's Garage Indian custom bike out for a couple laps. And all these folks set out again on yet to be another fundraiser for the Red Flag Fund. We had a little something special also up our sleeves when we had this crew take to the track, as we decided that the BRL should be strongly represented with a Grand Marshallette, if you will. Not only had Fred Fox left an amazing legacy and a great company to the world, he also said, "Hey, Paula Fox, you are going to get a ride as the official Grand Marshallette of the BRL here at Blackhawk Farms." The riders were out on the track, and I think each and every one of them came off looking to go to maybe over to Alpine Stars and pick up some knee pucks or get that taller suspension as they got these bikes dialed in. And again, that iconic CVO, the first time it's ever been on a racetrack. And Bill Sink from Azra Racing, who the BRL's in conjunction with this weekend at Blackhawk Farms, Bill Sink said, "Hey, I want to jump on that Nick Trask purchased turbo." He bought it at Suburban Harley-Davidson. And I want to be the first one to take a CVO around the racetrack. And Bill Sink has been doing 2-up rides for a number of years, and this is the first time on a CVO. Harley-Davidson, the new 121, the biggest motor ever installed in a Harley-Davidson, and Bill Sink had that 121 CVO leading the pack around here. You know, the crowd that has been coming out to these events have often wondered, well, what's it like out there on the track? Well, they had an opportunity to check it out for themselves, all for making a nice donation to the Red Flag Fund. Joan Hupp from Suburban Harley-Davidson said, "You know what? Let me take Paula for a ride around here. I'm going to get the T-Bird all shined up. Last year at the Milwaukee Miles, she did it, and she said, hey, I may be your official escort driver, as her and Paula Fox, our Grand Marshallette, made their way around the track here. As they came past the Parts Unlimited hospitality lunch area, the crowd was certainly ecstatic and appreciative of the fact that such an amazing opportunity was brought to them, all through the fact from Le Mans, as we support the sport. And this was truly an opportunity for these folks to experience what an afternoon at this wonderful race facility are all about. Gail and the rest of the crew here at Blackhawk Farms have been spectacular to us, and the folks from Mazda Racing welcomed us with open arms into the paddock as we had the BRL pits set up, and there she comes as they complete their lap. Joan Hupp behind the wheel, Paula Fox riding shotgun as the two of them make their way back into the paddock. So an outstanding way to get the day started here at Blackhawk Farms and stop number 3 of the Bagger Racing League. Folks, it wouldn't be a BRL event if we didn't take this opportunity to go down for opening ceremonies.
And bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the that our flag is still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, I tell you what, the qualifying was a big part of the day, and we put them out on the track. Cody Gilmore. There goes Arnie Wells, number 1. There goes Clay Braun, and this was qualifying. And these riders were certainly not only finding the insides, the outside, but this historic racetrack really lends itself well. The Pan Americans and FTRs were dialing in. You see riders like Oleg Payak out there as he leads Gunnar Olette. There's the one of Nick Trask performance race bike driven by Shane Narbone, and they've been outstanding. Folks, I'll tell you what, if you want to meet one of the best in the business, we have a Pro Stock defending champion who wants to tell you a little bit more about what's going on in this bagger racing scene. Let's go down to the paddock, find out what Arnie Wells has up his sleeve.
Arnie Wells, defending Pro Stock champion. We're here at Blackhawk Farms. How's it going so far?
It's going good. Just trying to get as much seat time in practice for, getting to learn the track and the bike still. So it's going good, though. Knocking off a couple seconds every time I go out. So.
You have a chance to talk to Arnie Wells down there, and I know he is getting suited up because they're going to be the opening race of the day. Clay Braun has been putting in some incredible rides himself. And, you start to look at these bikes, and this is what the Pro Stock bagger class brings to it. You get swing arms, you get suspension, you get titanium exhaust, carbon fiber abound. You get those handlebars low and that seat up tall, you get the chain on them, get rid of that belt. We want to change gearing. How about the rear set pegs? And they go to GP shifting, gang. It's not 1 down, 5 up. It's 1 up, and the rest are on the floor. Sly Fox has been at this since day one. Arnie Wells, last year's defending champ, and then the Indian that was brought out here by the folks from Lloyd's Garage have been doing a great job. And, of course, they have Hawk Mazzotta behind the controls, and of their Pan American FTR bike, they go with Josh Baird. And you speak about the FTRs and the Pan Americans. Harley-Davidson Indians, all about tradition. But those bikes, liquid-cooled, upside-down forks, chain drive, that's all about technology, and we'll see them in action later today. Wrapping up one of these races right before we get ready to go, this is what we're all about, the Bagger Racing League from Blackhawk Farms, South Beloit, Illinois. This is round 3. Beautiful day here. The heat and the humidity is going to play a big part in these as these riders have an opportunity to experience this. Now let's real quick grab our friend here, Kristen Banks, and she'll be doing all of our trackside reporting. She'll handle all the podiums. Kristen Banks, a name that's been made famous in the BRL as well as all your other events. Welcome to Blackhawk Farms, stop number 3.
Thank you, Rob. We're really excited to be here and looking forward to some good racing.
You know, good qualifying today, and we were watching some of the baggers out there, and these guys, from where it started just a couple of years ago to where it's at now, the technology and the technique they're using, truly inspiring.
It's truly crazy to me. After a track like Pittsburgh that was a little more wide, we're here at a more narrow track this week, and to see those big baggers, the heavy baggers, passing on a track like this, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of different line selection. They're looking at all the opportunities as they're just wrapping up the race right before we get into the BRL and the Pro Stock baggers. One of the things that I think was really interesting, we were walking through the paddock earlier today. I think the age of the normal BRL, not only individual / competitor, has really brought the age of the Harley-Davidson and Indian consumer down into the 20s.
Well, we were talking about it. You know, the Harley and Indian brand has been looking to, adjust to younger riders, and I think we found that at the BRL. The young guys, they love to compete, and they're out here. We have them from Australia to Canada, all over America out here competing.
Well, they're at different locations, and they wanted to be part of this, and so many of the people haven't had that chance to go, I'm going to come out, see it live, I want to do it, I want to do a track day. These young riders, and you can follow all of it on our social media and our web pages and things, but to come and see it live, you really kind of get the vibe of what's going on. In the paddock up there, many of these guys, we know that Tony Tucker had a tip over before his bike was back off of the crash truck yesterday.
He had guys lending him parts.
Every part that he needed was there. They rebuilt it overnight. He's going to have to start from the back of the grid, but guess what? Because of the paddock, he will be on the track.
He's going to be out here, and that's great because Tony Tucker's one of those fast guys. I think he had the fastest lap time earlier at practice, and then, like you said, he's going to start in the back now, but that just means he's going to get to compete more.
No, we can't wait to see him out there. Made the big drive from Utah out here. Clay Braun came all the way from California. Alex Fox came from Costa Mesa. Then you start to get Shane Narbo, and they come out of the main area. They're not even coming from just down the road in Illinois. They're coming across the country from the East Coast.
Gunner, New Hampshire, I think. You have Sam from Canada, speaking French. You got we have our mate from down under, Jake Masters from Australia. We've got them from all over.
We're an international little melting pot right here. And obviously the shot we have right here is one of those iconic racetrack shots. You know, you're coming out of the final corner, and there's the big, long straight. You're going to be getting all the gears heading towards the finish line. And on the right side of your television, you'll see some of those flags popping up, and, of course, that's the gang from Parts Unlimited. They brought the entire Parts Unlimited Drag Specialty Corporation out here, the executives, the managers, in my opinion, the real heroes, the folks that work in the warehouse. Think about it. If you're a motorcycle shop and you received a box from Parts Unlimited, those men and women are the ones that put their DNA on everything that leaves that warehouse.
They said we are going big at the BRL this weekend. They brought the big rig with all the flags, all the banners, and yeah, it looked pretty cool out there.
You know, it's a little bit more than the look too. I know that a lot of them brought their friends, family, and their kids out here. And I remember when I was a kid going to my dad's work Christmas party. You meet all the other little kids and get all that stuff going, and it's really something special. And I know that these guys are really, really excited. We can't be more appreciative than our friends from AG Video. They said, listen, we're going to get you on live so that these folks can really experience what's going on in the Bagger Racing League. And you see some of the drone shots and some of the action that we'll be able to capture today. So I know you've got some big work ahead of you, young lady. You're going to be down there, and it looks like they filed into the paddock. You'll be down there on the podium. Kristen
I'm excited.
Banks, have
I'll
a great day,
later.
my friend.
Thank you.
She's heading down to the podium. And now, the Metzler Pro Stock Bagger classes, the group that's ready to head out. Steve Chamberlain right there. You see the number 64, one of the taller individuals that gets into our program. Then the number 1 behind him, Arnie Wells, is going to be the defending champion, but certainly one of those individuals that is going to be able to showcase everybody what the defending champ is all about. Not the points leader right now, and I know that he wants more. Chamberlain will head out on his sighting lap. Arnie Wells will follow him. Kristen, let's talk here for just a minute. Who are some of these other riders we want to look at?
All right, Rob, this class is going to be a good one to look at. He is from all the way here from Canada. He's a fast guy. I think he qualified with a 1:19. And then with your second fastest qualifying time, you have Gunnar Olette from New Hampshire. He qualified right behind Sam with a 1:20. And then you're in your third spot, which honestly I think might be the best starting position in the inside, is Arnie Wells. So those are your top 3 guys to look out for in this race.
Well, these guys right now are definitely out on their sighting lap. And if you talk about a sighting lap, they're starting to see, in motocross, it'd be like, what happened to the berms? Where did this line go? On the road race course, they just want to make sure the lines that worked for them this morning are still the best. I got a seasoned veteran joining me up here in the booth as we get ready for our first race of the day, and we're going to send Kay Banks down to the podium, and she'll have a chance to talk to him. But on this sighting lap right now, not only that, I think we should definitely do a job. You got a little bit of history in this road racing thing, don't you?
Guys like Benny Carlson and Benny brings his Suburban motor stuff over here once in a while to do some testing. So really good to see the rest of these guys out here, and what an awesome field to have here.
The Canadian Sam Guerin, French Canadian, we know about him, bit of a superbike racer. Arnie Wells next to him. Gunnar Olette on a turbocharged road glide, part of the Trask Empire, and that's kind of your front grid up there. Couple of different bikes, they're all road glides. Don't have an Indian in this race. You get a little bit farther back and you start to look at Clay Braun, who made the big drive. Roger Smock, he was a drag racer, said, no, lefts and rights are the way I want to go. Then you move a little bit farther over there. Joe Sanderson, Rep 101, the Phantom Racing team, part of the Parts Unlimited family, as a rep day by day, but at weekends, he's a racer. They're in the attack position, big jump for Sam Guerin, and here comes the turbo of Gunnar Olette out onto the track. Tony Tucker, that's the rider we're talking about. He had to start from pit wall, to race from the back wall. Watch the work that he's going to put in. Steve Chamberlain out on the track right now. He's in a bit of a battle for the number 5 spot.
Yeah, they get through turn 2 here. It's kind of tricky. It's really fast. You start running out of room really quick. You back down a couple of gears here through this really long right-hand carousel. The thing is, that track keeps closing up on you. You want to keep accelerating, and it just keeps pushing the front. Then you got to flick it back to the left, accelerate, and then it comes to almost a dead stop there at the oak tree turn. And then this is where it really opens up. Turn 4 and 5, they get really wide open through there in their middle gears. And then this is the tricky part. If they get into this too shallow, they're just pushing the front all the way through there, and they're just waiting to get back in the middle of the tire. And this is where it opens up too. They throw it down here, start clicking gears, and they get through this kink. It's really fast. This shot doesn't show you how fast that section really is.
Well, this will give you an idea. We got a turbocharged Harley that's pushing just about 200 horsepower back into the number 2 spot. Out front, the French Canadian Sam Guerin has a bit of a superbike background. He's on a bike that's probably about 160, 170 horsepower. This smaller, tighter track actually lends itself to some of these smaller displacement bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you can gear them different, so this isn't going to be all about torque, right? So just like with motocross bikes, you're not gearing those things for top speed. You're gearing for torque, corner to corner, being able to accelerate off the corners here, back it into the next corner. So you want to go and stop. So brakes and torque is the 2 things you're looking for here.
The French Canadian Sam Guerin still your leader. We have the New Hampshire rider. That is Gunnar Olette. They call him the Cougar Killer up there in New Hampshire. And here he is back in the number 2 spot on that track.
Manchester, New Hampshire.
They've kind of broken away a little bit here from the pack, and we know that Tony Tucker is one of those points individuals. He had to start from pit road. We talked about him earlier. Big crash, everybody in the paddock to help them get them back together. I have a feeling we're going to see
him
in the top 5 before it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he can get on a roll here again, if the bike's working right after they put it all back together again, he's going to make it. He can make a good run here. It is going to be hard to catch the French Canadian Guerin out front. He's rolling really well. The bike's been working good all weekend, and and they've had that thing dialed. Remember, he's also used to running that Canadian Superbike Championship on that BMW. The speeds here do not scare him whatsoever.
Yeah, but what about a draft right now, because that turbo has locked on.
And these things punch a big hole in the air, that's for sure.
The tractor beam is on. It looks like Gunner's looking. Does he dip to the left? Does he dip to the right? He's going to have to tip it in here. And they come across the start-finish line, and they are almost bar to bar, fairing to fairing, shoulder to shoulder, and knee puck to knee puck.
Yeah, and you see Braun back there just trying to do everything he can to get out of the wind so he can get up to these guys.
Last time we were in Pittsburgh, Clay Braun from California decimated the field in the rain. We didn't think guys in California knew about rain. He had it dialed in. Today, though, his championship hunt is still strongly alive with a third at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got a good lead there. I mean, the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:20.331 from Gunner. So Gunner on that number 86 machine, he's making a run at him. We'll see if there's enough time. Two laps, complete here. Some of these Harleys, they're very deceiving. We're going to see in some of the other BRL classes later on today that when they start shedding a couple pounds here, like some of those Pan Ams, they get really, really quick around this place.
Oh, absolutely. The Pan Am has been the tradition bike that Harley's now taking the technology. Liquid-cooled, upside-down forks, single shock with a linkage on the back. That is the state of the art, and it is the future, I believe.
Those guys are moving, so make sure that you stay tuned in here with the Bagger Racing League later on today and tomorrow, because some of the racing coming up is going to get even faster than this. But I think, like right now, I'm trying to look at the body language of Gunner, and he's either just waiting, or he's or he just simply can't get past him. He's going to try to wait for the closing laps here to get past him.
The racecraft that these guys bring, some of them have come back and they figure, you know what, if I'm going to make a pass, I'm going to have to make it stick. Do I make it where he can't retaliate? And I think right now, Gunner's looking at where he can roll up on him, where he can get close. But Sam Guerin's not somebody you're just going to punk and look over in the wrong shoulder and get him. His program is tight. Clay Braun, he's broken away from Arnie Wells right now. And Arnie Wells and Craig Braymiller. Craig Braymiller is the rider rep for the BRL. He talks to all the guys, gets everybody on the same page. And Arnie Wells, he does a lot of stuff. We've seen him race Volkswagen Bugs. We've seen him race Harleys, side-by-sides. He's a tattoo artist. He does it all.
There you go. Maybe you can finish my tattoo this weekend.
You never know.
But yeah, I think with a lot of these Harley bagger guys, they started racing on the Harley baggers. They came from flat track or something like that. So a lot of them don't have the racecraft that you're talking about that some of the other superbike guys do. But you're gonna end up getting guys like you said, like for Sam Guerin, who is used to running road race tracks up in Canada, stuff like that. They're gonna have a little bit more racecraft. They understand this a little bit more than some of the other riders. And there's the starter stand. They're showing halfway now, so halfway through this 7-lap main event.
Oh, looks like we got a little puff of smoke coming out of Sam Guerin's bike. He's off into the grass. Oh, what a heartbreak right now. Fantastic ride, and the French-Canadian off the side of the track, number 418. He saw the smoke immediately, did the right thing, though, got off the race line.
Yeah, absolutely, and it puts Gunner in a really good spot. Gunner actually turned the fastest lap of the race that time, a 1:19.769. So 1:19, he was putting the pressure on Sam, and Sam just, he didn't brake, but the bike certainly did. So it's gonna, we're gonna take a few minutes at the end of this to get him back going. Hopefully he'll be able to run the rest of the races here this afternoon. But what they'll do is they'll move Gunner up into first place, Clayton Braun there in second, and you talked about Michael Wells. It'll push Michael Wells up into third, into that final podium position, and we're just past halfway.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker right there. We hate to see a rider push his bike off. Classy, though. Made sure he's off the line, put himself in a safe spot. Not going to endanger anybody out there, and the folks at the BRL. Our motto is always safety first. We want to see good, safe racing, and the action obviously follows.
100%.
Speaking of action, Gunnar Olette now is in no man's land. He has broken the feet. He's got to think, wait a minute, where'd everybody go? He's even looking around right now.
He's
thinking,
like, where'd everybody go? What happened?
Well, don't ever turn your back on Clay Braun, Michael Wells, Craig Braymiller, or Steve Chamberlain. Chamberlain stands about 6'6", probably 275 pounds. He's even ridden his bike to the races raced it and went home. Now he's got a dedicated race bike because he's such a part of it.
Well,
but
and don't forget Jimenez. Jimenez and Chamberlain are right there together too. So so you've got Chamberlain back there, and then the 717 of Emilio Jimenez is right behind him, and then rounding out the field, you've got Sanderson and Smock.
Yeah, Roger Smock came from drag racing, loving turning. Joe Sanderson will be back in the field for drag specialties on Monday, going, hey, you should buy these tires, these brakes, these shocks, the suspension. I raced with them, they work great.
Yeah.
So the number 86 Trask turbo machine, Nick Trask said, listen, I'm going to take turbocharged torque and performance and take it to the racetrack, show you the reliability of it, show you there's no more turbo lag or any of those things. It works, and man, he is broken away right now from the pack. He's on the backside of the track.
This is one of the fastest laps is one of the fastest parts of the racetrack right here, where they get into what they call the kink. All you're doing is upshifting and accelerating through here. It doesn't give you the idea of speed, and you got to shut it down and go back to second gear right here. So this really tricky off-camber turn number 7 before you get to the straightaway. So,
White flag is waving right now. One more lap for Gunnar Olette.
Yep, and chances are he's looking around trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah, well, you know, I have a sneaking suspicion that he probably sees Sam off to the left side of the track and is thinking, man, this just made things a lot easier for me.
It looked like Sam, either he got going again or he got the bike fired up and maybe cut back across the racetrack. So maybe he was able to kind of self-clean that thing and get rolling again. But yeah, yellow flag out. That looks like he's down in turn 2, turn 3 area, so he might just have a slow roller.
Yeah, certainly hope that it's just somebody that was off the side of the track. But Gunnar Olette, Claybron, Michael Wells, it was Joe Sanderson, Rep 101. He went a lap down there. He's one of the only riders on a street glide. Everybody else is road glide mounted.
Yeah.
And I think I see maybe what the yellow flag was for is some riders often, and I'd rather see it moving like that.
Yeah.
Get back to the paddock, fix that thing. We got a big race tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just, some of these places, it's so fast. Like, that was just a near miss there. He kind of needs to be a little bit farther out, to the edge of the racetrack so he doesn't get collected by one of these other riders here. End of the race, the tires are getting, greasy. You get out into the marbles there, it gets kind of tricky. But, man, he's just on rails. He's got that turbo Harley-Davidson.
We're going to hear from Gunnar Olette as he gets ready to take the checkers here at Blackhawk Farms. 50 years of racing. Gunnar Olette takes the first BRL Metzler Pro Stock checkered flag of the weekend.
What a blast. Yeah.
Clay Braun holds on to that number 2 spot. Let's see if he comes across the line in that spot. A 1:19.789, fastest lap of the race.
Yep, fastest lap of the race, and then he backed it up with a 1:21.586. So I think he looked around, saw there was no one else there, so he went from a 1:19 and then just kind of backed it off a couple seconds just to save that motor for the races later this afternoon. 3 more BRL races coming this afternoon, so make sure you stay tuned in. Make sure you keep your thing, your device, whatever you're on, dialed in and logged on to Bagger Racing League for all the action coming up today. And then, of course, tomorrow, we're going to use the same grid positions, but some of these guys are going to mix it up. They're going to have another day of tuning under their belt. This is going to be a blast. What a great
I know
shot.
the folks that are sitting at home, we got riders like Tony Salima, who started with us. He's building a bagger, and we're going to see him back in action real soon. We know that some of the other guys and girls that have been part of the scene, we're missing them right now. Lucas Gibo, where are you at, my friend? Last time we saw him, he was picking up 2 first-place trophies. Let's look at the top 10 right now. Gunnar Olette, Clay Braun, Michael Wells, Craig Braymiller, Tony Tucker, Emilio Jamirez, Steve Chamberlain, Roger Smock, Sam Guerin, and Joe Sanderson round out the top 10.
Yeah, good racing. And again, we're going to see a bunch of these guys, and we're going to see a bunch of these guys. We have 3 more races this afternoon, and these weren't even the fast guys. So we've got some other races coming up later on this afternoon with some of the featured motorcycles and featured riders, and we're gonna keep shifting gears here. I'm gonna go back to my day job here with Championship Cup Series to call the next race, and then we'll be back up here in the booth. We'll see you in a few minutes, Rob. Thanks for the time.
Can't wait. Great to have you up here. And we're going to be ready to do some podium action once these riders get their cool-down lap going. I got a legend joining me in the booth right now. Legend. I say legend in the booth right now. And Anytime you have a legend come up in the booth back in the announcer day. Now, you've been with us. Tell everybody at home how excited they're going to be when they find out who joined me.
Oh, yeah. Well, this ain't Christmas, I don't know.
Remind me of Larry Myers. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember Larry.
Me and Larry are buddies. I saw him just a week ago at Red Bud, and here you are,
Really?
a friend of Larry Myers.
I'll be darned. Steve Hopkins.
Oh, Steven, it's great to have you. You see the riders already coming up. This team strategy. They're already strategizing.
Yeah, and to see him out there on the track, it's just a real thrill.
Hugs, kisses, stories are being told. They're finding a pat on the head. Everything's good right now, right? Everything's
absolutely.
Well. You win, it seems like you can do no wrong. They're getting the Trask turbo bike. There's Nick Trask, Hall of Famer. A couple years ago at Sturgis. It was a real honor and a pleasure to be there with him and his family. Clay Braun, a Californian. He's a barber, so if you and I need to get trimmed up a little bit later, we'll go check him out.
I could use a trim.
Rides for Josh Runlick, great guy. There's Joe. Listen to my man Joe Hop here. 7 race bikes he brings to the races with him. He goes to bed, I think, on Tuesday of the following week because he's working on Sportsters, Pan Americans. He's got a couple baggers, and the crazy thing is he always finds himself down near the podium.
That'll do it.
That'll get you excited,
get by
won't
the
it?
podium once in a while. He'd get to bed earlier, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to have a chance to hear from the 3 of these riders, and Kristen Banks will be down there, and she'll get the scoop. They'll find out what's going on, get us all dialed in. They're looking for the I think we got time for a quick race recap. There's a couple R's in there, huh? Let's look at it.
Yeah.
Big hole shot right there. Sam Guerin wheelied off the line,
Yeah.
but the rest of the boys said, hold on, we're coming for the toe. And Tony Tucker, he got his bike back together after a big crash yesterday, had to start from pit road. The action was crazy. The leaders broke away.
Yeah.
And just as Gunnar Olette was starting to make a run on Sam Guerin, puff of smoke comes out of the bike. And I believe that was the end, and boom, there it went.
Yeah.
Guerin gets on the binders, gets it off the track. Imagine pulling off into the grass at 100 miles an hour with slicks on something that weighs
Wet
650 pounds.
Yeah, wet grass.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But from that point on,
That was a
Gunnar
good
Olette
race.
just started to ride his own race, broke away from the field, put that 200 horsepower Trask Turbo Road Glide across the checker flag and picked up the win. Little fist pump there. All right. We got to do the fist pump, right?
Yeah, he went by a long shot, too. He's a very, very smooth rider. I've been impressed watching him go into corner 1.
No, absolutely. And the folks down there at the Parts Unlimited area, they were having a great VIP stuff. They got food. They even got ice cream down there.
Oh, yeah.
Me and you will have to go get an ice cream later at the end of the day. Great group of vendors made the trip out here with us. They have all the executives. And Paula Fox, Fred Fox's lovely wife, came out. She was our grand marshalette. And let's go down to the podium with Miss Kristen Banks.
Arnie Wells, we talked about it earlier, you connecting all the dots on the Suburban Speed Glide. Do you feel like you finally connected the dots? Because you're up here on the podium. How did it feel out there?
I felt good. I still want to make up some time, and I think I can do that tomorrow. The guys over at Suburban Motor Harley-Davidson made some front suspension adjustments, and I knocked off some time from that. So we're going to go back and just see where we can make up a little bit more.
Well, congratulations to Arnie Wells in his 3rd place finish in Pro Stock.
Thank you.
All right, then we're going to move over here to Clay Braun. Clay, you're consistent the entire race. How did it feel getting up here in 2nd place?
It always feels good. I'm just more happy to be up here with my boy Gunnar and Arnie, and we all put the work in. All the companies supporting us behind our backs. It's cool to see all this hard work play off. So, just hats off to Gunnar for fucking gapping us so big, and then Arnie just coming out swinging, getting his first podium. I can't thank everyone enough that supports us as some young bloods, like you were saying earlier. So, I just can't thank everyone enough.
Me and Rob talked about it earlier. The young guys are up top on the podium. You have Gunnar Olette, who just won your Metzler Pro Stock. Now, Gunnar, before Sam even pulled off, you had the fastest lap time. How were you able to keep it on the track and get that Trask Turbo up here on the number 1 plate?
Just trying to be consistent. I was just trying to push, watch them, and learn a couple things. And Oh, it was crazy. I got to thank all the boys from Trask, from here, the guys back in Phoenix, everybody from my hometown watching. Thank you guys. Thank you, Trask, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for putting me up here. I can't thank anybody enough. And that turbo is, it's the consistent power, reliant. I couldn't ask for any more.
Well, congratulations on your first place finish to Gunnar Olep.
What's going on is they're down there on the podium. They'll be handing out the hardware here shortly. And obviously, when you have an opportunity to pick up the hardware at Blackhawk Farms, that's kind of a historic day for you.
Oh, yes.
Well, the crowd down there now, they're kind of getting ready to go because guess what's coming up shortly? We're going to have some Bagger GP from the crews at NAMM. So you hang tight with us. We got more action coming. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, wait till you see the feature we have in store for you. We'll be back in just a moment here with more Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers from Blackhawk Farms.
Nelson right out front, dominating the main event.
Is the world champion. This stadium's going nuts. Give it up for Scotty Brothers Riders.
I always looked at him as invincible on the track. He was awesome.
Actually saw his shadow, and I knew it was coming.
Tragic accident that left one of our recent Olympians paralyzed.
Not being able to move anything and realizing, wow, it happened to me.
Trans Performance is a leader in high-performance aftermarket parts for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. World-renowned for industry-first bolt-on turbo systems and cutting-edge motorcycle components. All made right here in performance-minded, performance-driven Trask.
When we come to the race, but what do you do in the evening? Well, what you do is you want to partner up with somebody that loves what you're doing. And the gang at Mustangs, one of the best bar and grills up here in South Beloit, said, hey, BRL, come on down, and let's watch the Pittsburgh round 1 and round 2 on our big TVs around the facility. So we said, heck yeah, sign us up. So let's have a look at what went down at Mustangs Bar and Grill. That's the way we like to do. Have a good time. You go to a nice place, and they roll
great.
out the orange and black carpet for you, kind of the Harley-Davidson sign of things.
Yeah, they've been there a long time and always good to the racers.
Yeah, Jimmy did a great job. He made us feel extremely welcome down there, and we can't wait to go back. I think maybe tonight might be a stop on the way home. It should be something for everybody. You know, this Blackhawk Farms location has been around for 50 years. You think they've seen a thing or two here?
I'll tell you, and they've made so many improvements. I raced here for over 20 years, and just to see the improvements and the attitude of the owners and everybody who takes care of the track is great.
You know, they really do. It's hospitality they talk about. We got to the gate, and they made us feel welcome. They were kind of very concerned, make sure we were parked where we needed to be. We're like, yeah, this is great. Thank you very much. And that's, in this day and age, I mean, every racetrack obviously has challenges in this economy and things like that. But when you just see somebody that's doing it because they love it, it just makes you feel good to go there.
Absolutely.
You know, people are always talking, oh, what's these baggers? What are they? Like, how do they break down? What's basically different from the street bike? And there is just about everything different. We use a bone stock frame. We use a motor up to 131 cubic inches or turbocharged. The swing arm, the subframe, all the carbon fiber bags and lids and fairings and fenders. Then, remember, you used to take your Harley and slam it on the ground? No more. You raise that thing up as tall as you can because ground clearance and lean angles, that's now become a big thing.
Absolutely, especially with those bags on the other side.
Well, yeah. And you know, the funny thing is it's not even the bags that hit the ground. Everyone's the bags of bags. The primary and the clutch stick out so far on the bottom. As soon as you make that left-hander, that's hitting the ground. Then on the right side, you got the pipe that's down below the frame, and they're on the brakes, on the suspension. They got it lowered. Pick it up, boom, and off they go. And you know what? Let's take a look at what makes one of these bagger GP bikes. You know, look at the lines. Look how much longer the fork tubes are. They've gone to upside-down forks now. You can see the primary and the rear set pegs. They're not there because, well, you know, it's cool. They're there because they need it. What are you seeing?
Oh, the travel.
Oh, they've increased it by 4 inches.
Really?
Like we're kind of back in the Roger DeCoster dirt bike days where you're just adding inches. Kids love them as well. They got bumps on the gas tank so they can hunker down in there. The folks at Suburban built that bike. Lloyd's Garage, we can't thank him enough. And, well, you know what, our champ, Shane Narbonne, let's find out what he's up to today.
Yeah.
Shane Narbonne, fastest qualifier with a 113. What's going to be the key to keeping it out front today?
Yeah, of course. It's just going to be a race to the finish, really. These guys are not far behind. So it's more managing tires and getting the race over with, really.
Now, some of these guys have a little more time on this track than you. Do you think they have an advantage?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yesterday we had some problems, like I said earlier, but we got them all figured out. And with a little bit of advantage, of course, the racing's different because they know passing zones and whatnot. So, but we'll learn as we go. You know, my plan is just to get the whole shot and just kind of walk away, but we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much.
Shane Narbonne's getting ready to go out there. Bagger GP will be up next, and there's the checkered flag letting them know that the Bagger GP race is just seconds away from heading out onto the track. And you know what that means? Butterflies. They turn into pterodactyls in your belly, don't they?
Oh, yes. Yeah, race face.
I almost wonder if it's harder on the mechanics or the riders sometimes. You know, you build these things, and they're not bolted together. They're craftsmen. They got the They got everything out there using titanium and carbon fiber now on Harley-Davidsons. I never thought I'd see the day. Came up with the race 4 years ago now to take them to the track. People were like, I'm not real sure this is going to work. Not only has it worked, I think it's become one of the big spectacles of road racing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and you talk to some of these guys that we call them a wrench, but they're not really wrenches. They're more than a wrench, and that's their baby.
That's their craftsman. Yeah, they take these things apart. Now, and you've been around. I mean, the new R1s and R6s and the Kawasaki's, they're very, very durable. Incredible motorcycles. You can take them out and reach speeds incredible. And do a bone stock kind of package. Then you make some improvements. It gets a little lighter, even a little better. These require you to start thinking, like, who would have ever thought the very peak, they had these big wheel baggers, 30-inch front wheels.
Yes.
Then they went to 17s. Then they went to slicks. Then they took the suspension, you slammed and raised it. It's just been a whole amazing transformation of what's going on. And we're starting to see it move over to the street. One of the biggest things I think that's really became a part of this, all these Harley guys and Indian guys are now wearing full-face helmets. You know, they got to go on the track. They got that full. No more of those little pudding bowls. They got tear-offs on as they're riding down the highway.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, all these things translate to when you walk into the dealership to buy your unit. These things are all going into the product that you buy. You know, this whole development is not only good for the racers, it's good for the industry, and for the product that's on the what do we got here?
Well, those are some of the classes we have. Obviously, the NAMS Bagger GP, that's our feature class. We're going to see them in a minute. The Icon Lightweight Twins, those are the Sportsters. Andrews Products Big Twin. Andrews Cams has been on the scene forever. That's your Dyna, your Softail, your FXR. Like when Lucas Gaboo's here, his FXR, he's almost unbeatable right now. Out in California, we know he's watching. Love you, brother. FS Cup. Not tradition. That's technology. Again, the upside-down forks, liquid-cooled Harleys and Indians. We never thought we'd hear that. Then these things are running linkage single shocks, aluminum swing arms from the factories. It's a great bike, and that's our big technology. Zippers Performance ATU. That is a run what you brung. When we were talking to Dan Fitzmaurice, he goes, I like stuff that shouldn't work. And, man, did he go to a whole new level when it came to that. So great tip of the cap for the folks that came out from Zippers. And Metzler Pro Stock, that's one of our most exciting classes. We just had an opportunity to witness that. And our buddy, Gunnar Olette, brought home the win in the first race of the BRL this weekend. We're going to have the NAMS Bagger GP class. They'll be taken to the track next.
Outstanding.
You can't wait, can you? You're on pins and needles.
I am ready.
They are defending champ. There, right there, is Oleg Payak. Now, he rides the Alloy Art. They call that bike the Mullet. When it showed up at the first race, he had a different front end, short in the front and long in the back, and he called it the Mullet. They've made things. That's Brian Shields. He rides for Hard Drive. He's out of Boardman, Ohio, and he's on a road glide, obviously, as well. Oleg, the Alloy Art bike, again, the Mullet, featured right there, giving you a little rundown on who some of their sponsors are. And obviously, you see a lot of Fred Fox stickers. You see a lot of Jim Matchett stickers. Creeping in the background, that is our defending champion. That's Shane Narbone, two-time BRL champion here. And again, he's on the Trask Turbo. You see Hawk Mazada, number 121. Behind Hawk, this rider here, Jesse Janish, grew up here, has more laps here than anybody else, and last year went and won a flat track championship for Vance and Hines.
I have a pair of Jesse Janish's old race boots.
Oh, do you now?
I bought at the benefit they were having tonight, maybe 12 years ago.
Well, there's Benny Carlson right now, the Sly Fox Suburban Harley-Davidson. They call that bike the Grimace Glide. He has all the purple wheels and purple derby covers and primary, and Joe, my man, loves putting things together that just look cool out on the racetrack, and he knocked it out of the park with the Sly Glide. And this is the NAMS Bagger GP. Jeff Zielinski, a big part of NAMS, here today with us. He just loves the race action. He comes from Philadelphia, and it's great to have him here. You see everybody scrambling now. They got to get their spot along the fence. Well, here they come back down from the sighting lap, and they get lined up over here on the grid, and they'll have this opportunity to sit there for just enough time to make sure that all of the adrenaline is just going bananas. So can't wait. This is the second race of the BRL, and this is the NAMS Bagger GP. Now, here's one of the things that could have happened. Could have had a couple of our riders from the Metzler Pro Stock join us. It's going to be interesting to see who recovered that quick, who wanted to get back in the heat, who wanted to zip them leathers up one more time. I don't know if anyone took advantage of this opportunity, because I'm looking at Narbonne, Hawk Mazzata, Jesse Janisch, behind him Oleg Payek, over to the right, that is Benny Carlson, and we've seen Benny Carlson at this track, and he is a phenom here.
Yeah, absolutely. Benny Carlson and Jesse Janisch are the two to watch here. They are the two local riders, but you can't discount Hawk Mazzata, who's on a tear this year, and Brian Shields had a good warm up this morning as well. But watch Shane Narbonne, the number one.
Well, they go off the line clean, it looks like, and this is going to be Bagger GP, the NAMS Bagger GP. Carlson got a big jump. The turbo's there, and it looks like they skirted around the outside of Jesse Janisch.
Yeah, Janisch had something happen there, but watch Janisch. He had some of the faster times in the warm-ups here this morning, so we should be able to see Janisch make up some time here. He's had thousands of laps around this place, so he'll make up time here pretty quick.
Hawk Mazzata got the jump on that Lloyd's Garage Indian, and really is starting to put the hammer down to the ground right now as we see them in the back section of the track. The drone's picking it up, and we're going three wide in some of these corners.
Man, and that's not the place to do it. So, but it'll get exciting here as they start to pick up some steam. They start to sort themselves out, and you get into some of these faster corners. You go fast in the fast corners and slow in the slow corners, and this place is getting quick as we get to this turn 6 area.
Looks like Oleg kind of got the rope out right now as he's dragged onto that top 4, and Oleg Payek's coming along. Back behind him a little bit is Brian Shields. Shields again on the Penn, Ohio Road Glide, but we've got some position jockeying going up here.
What's cool is this is actually the BRL paddock. So this is the paddock that they built here for BRL this weekend as the leaders get back onto the front straightaway. Here's where you're going to make some huge strides in the draft.
Yeah, that's Hawk Mazzata on the Lloyd's Garage bike. Shane Narbonne jumps out of the draft. You see him starting to skid around, back it in, and Janisch makes a pass on Benny Carlson.
Janisch back to third. This is going to be interesting because these are the two local guys. Their bikes are very, very similar. But watch this Indian now back in second place. Hawk's been struggling with that a little bit this weekend. He's not as fast as he normally would be. He's really struggling, but if anyone's going to make it stick this weekend or in this race, it's going to be Hawk. He knows how to figure it out. He has the skill sets, and it's just going to be whether or not he can force someone maybe to make a mistake, and he'll be able to capture that number 1 spot.
Well, the top 2 right now, they're starting to pull away from the rest of the field as well. And we see it's the turbo that's going to have to do some work right now. Hawk Mazzata is going to be a rider that is going to come back and make another attempt at him. We were looking at 119s. These guys have knocked 3 seconds off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a 16.249, a 1:16.249. Mazzata was only about 3 clicks back, and then the other 2 riders were in the 17s. And again, that was from a stop. So it's going to be very telling this time by, and you'll see the team the team crew chiefs and everybody giving everybody their boards to tell them where they're at.
Here comes the top 5 right now. The top 4 kind of freight train looks like a big locomotion coming down. I have a feeling Benny Carlson, he's dressed in all black on that black and white bike. He right now, I think, is doing a little bit of schoolwork. He's figuring out what happened, how he's going to make a run, because his championship hopes, I believe, are going to be a podium. He's going to need to keep it on the podium this whole series.
Yeah, and Jesse Janisch is the spoiler for that. Jesse doesn't normally ride this motorcycle, right? He's kind of a flying guy for this bike, and but he knows this racetrack. He's got experience. He's been running the Harley-Davidson flat track bikes and everything, so he's got some experience. He's having a good time. He's having a blast. I talked to him. He comes up and watches some of the starts, and I've been talking to him, every couple races here, and he's having a blast on that thing.
Well, you'll see Hawk Mazzata pop up on the screen, but it is Shane Narbonne, Hawk Mazzata in second, Jesse Janisch third, Benny Carlson in fourth. Oleg Payek on the Alloy Art Machine does run in the number 5 spot. Brian Shields is back behind him. A little buffering coming down the front straight. That's how thundering these bikes are as they head towards the finish line, and it's another downshift, step out the back end. Shane Narbonne backs it in there. Jesse Janish coming along, and he's bringing Benny Carlson along for the ride on the Sly Glide.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Narbonne throws down a 1:12.863 to back up his 1:13. So he's got a feel for it. He was fastest in qualifying. He's been fast all morning. And, you know, the interesting thing was some of these guys, they actually entered some of the CCS race classes this weekend to get an extra race before they got to these bagger reg events this afternoon.
Yeah, you can never have enough practice and track time. These guys love getting out there. You know, you think the motocross crowd, you could have a track in your backyard. Flat track, maybe a fairground. Road race, where are you going to do that except at a road race?
Yeah.
That's why they get 5, 6, 7. They want a track day. They want to get the place dialed in. And when they had that, they had the GT Evolve track day on Friday. I think every one of these riders took advantage.
So we have a red flag situation on the racetrack. So we're gonna wait to see if we get evidence of that. We didn't see it in the top 4 there. So we'll wait to see where we get it. But we see the red flag flying there. They're gonna hold them on start finish. So we didn't even get to halfway yet. We only had 3 laps complete. The running order was Narbonne, Janish, Carlson, and then Pianic, Shields, Mazzata. Mazzata was, well, it might have been Mazzata.
He was sitting there in the number 2 spot. We don't see him pull back onto the cold pit lane. We do see Benny Carlson there. We also see the number 1 of Shane Narbonne on the Trask Turbo. We see the whole Sly Fox pit crew start to make their way out. We'll see Benny Carlson get off the bike. They're bringing generators. I don't know if they're putting them on warmers out there or not.
Yeah, the operations right now, they're talking about whether to send them back to the paddock and then restart them again, or whether just to hold them here. So they're just going to hold them here for right now. So we'll probably see them. Oh, there you go. There's the motorcycle. That's after turn 6, going down into turn number 7 there, I think.
Yeah, if I'm looking, I believe that would be Hawk Mazzata. He's right on the
other.
That's
outside turn 5. That's outside of turn number 5, going the opposite
or
direction.
Is that Oleg? I can't quite get a look on the bike. I think it's the 121. Maybe we can get a little closer with that drone. We could give you a bit more. That's Oleg Payek.
99.
Number 99 on the Alloy Art mullet. And he's off the track. It doesn't appear that he went down. I think he might have just hopped off the track. There might have had a DNF. So they're down there talking about it with the race officials. And I do see tire warmers going on the bike. Benny Carlson, he rides for Bridgestone. We have an open tire policy here in the BRL, so we have Pirellis, Bridgestones, Continentals, slicks are out there. We have a lot of Dunlops, so it's good. A lot of these guys they're doing development worth them. Bridgestone's even sent some engineers over here that said we can't get this kind of data. It take us months to get this temperature, these lean angles.
Here we go. Here's what actually happened.
Tough Joe Sand. Oh, hate to see that. Brian Shields, neighbor of mine from Boardman, Ohio.
So this is outside of turn number 5. So what's been happening is a lot of these bagger guys, because they don't have a lot of time here at this racetrack. They've been getting that into that corner really, really narrow. So they enter that corner real shallow, and they are just dragging all the way around there, and they get some really steep lean angles. And chances are they just got too close together there as they start kind of sliding to the outside of that racetrack. And this is what happened. And so when we saw Oleg on the outside, he probably just got caught up trying to avoid these guys, and they got stuck out there on the outside.
Yeah, tough break, and certainly we hope that everybody's back and okay. Benny Carlson down there talking things over real quick with the crew, giving him his point. And obviously, all of these riders understand we are going to always err on the side of safety. The rider's safety, the integrity of what we're doing, that's the most important. These guys know they'll take a break, they'll grab a drink of water, and we want to make sure that everybody has the type of experience and safety that they come to expect from an organization like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like they're going to – so there's a couple bikes that had a mechanical, obviously a couple bikes down. We have an emergency vehicle on site, which is, sometimes precautionary more than anything. You see the air fence on the outside here, so that's actually provided by the Road Racing World Air Fence Fund. We raise funds here in the Midwest region to purchase these these soft barriers, so that when you can see there's not a lot of runoff there, and actually what they're showing, this is all protected wetlands, so they can't dig back into it. And you see the little you see that there's a little creek right there. Apparently there's some frogs or something in there that they're not allowed to touch, so we can't do any other development here at Blackhawk Farms Raceway. So here we are. But yeah, so they've got these guys. It looks like 3 or 4 guys left on pit road here. We had at least what looked like 2 motorcycles down, another mechanical, and then another bike on the outside at 6 there. So they're sorting out a whole bunch of stuff. They're saying about 5 minutes before we get restarted again. So
I'll tell you what we need to do. Let's take a commercial break.
There you go.
And when we come back, we'll let you know what's going on, because right now, again, a lot of meetings going on. They're going to make a call. Obviously, we're not past the point where they're going to call it a race. It's just, is it a full restart, or we're going to get them gridded back up, and whatever it is, be able to give you all that information in just a moment. We'll be back more with the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers.
There you go. So yeah, I mean they're not even halfway yet, so it's not final. So
Nelson right out front, dominating the main event.
Is the world champion. This stadium's going nuts. Give it up for Scotty Brothers Ride.
I always looked at him as invincible on the track. He was awesome.
Actually saw his shadow, and I knew it was coming.
Tragic accident that left one of our recent Olympians paralyzed.
Not being able to move anything and realizing, wow, it happened to me.
Transperformance is a leader in high-performance aftermarket parts for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. World-renowned for industry-first bolt-on turbo systems and cutting-edge motorcycle components, all made right here in the USA. Assault the street and the track with confidence. Performance-minded, performance-driven. Trask.
We got to where we're at. Rob Biters, Kristen Banks, the rest of the crew up here, and we're looking at the replay, and what a start there. Hawk Mazzata rockets off the line. Janice comes along, but it's Shane Narbone on the outside. Well, you talk about the second lap, and a couple things were starting to get hairy on that. There goes Narbone backing in. Janice back in the number 2 spot. Benny Carlson had clawed his way up into 3rd place on the slide glide. And as they headed back around, I don't think anybody thought that we were going to have a little bit of the pandemonium that we had out there.
Hey, you got to keep things interesting, don't you? You got Oleg on the side with maybe a mechanical issue. Doesn't look like he crashed. And then up in the right corner, we have an ambulance. We're not sure exactly what went on, but they had to red flag this race.
Yeah, we know that Brian Shields was involved. We certainly hope everybody's okay. And this is from back a little bit ago. It's not currently right now. So, you know, that's how the scene looked immediately. The emergency staff was on the scene. So they acted quickly and professionally, just like you'd expect when you're at Blackhawk Farms. They definitely know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got a word from control. They're looking at about 3 minutes before a restart. So a couple minutes, enough time to suck down another bottle of water and get another couple couple degrees into those tires here, but we'll be underway. It'll be interesting to see who we get regrid here, because whether or not the guys who crashed can restart or not. We learned one of those riders was Jesse Janish. We saw that Oleg was having a problem. There's another rider involved that we didn't get a name on. I'm assuming it was Hawk Mazzata, but we know that Narbone was good. We know Carlson was good. The rest of the field, we're not sure.
Yeah, that's a tough break. And again, you know, prayers and wishes for everybody out there. We'll do our best to keep everybody that's at home, maybe a friend or family member, up to date. And again, a lot of this is precautionary. We haven't heard anything really come over the radio that would indicate that it's, you know, they just take their time and make sure everybody's right.
Yep. It's a tough area down there. You know, that soft barrier is really, really close. And sometimes it just takes a few minutes to dig somebody out from underneath it if they slid under it. And these bikes are heavy too, so someone could have just got stuck underneath one of these heavy motorcycles, and they had to shut everything down. So you never know. But yeah, absolutely. We've got a great safety crew here in the Midwest, celebrating 50 years here at Blackhawk Farms Raceway, and CCS and the ASRA. They've done a great job in hosting the BRL here this weekend, and they've got all their best people out there making sure that everything is safe, and we'll get everything back on time here, and we'll get back underway with what's race number 8 today. But it's the second bagger race. 14 races total today. 4 of those bagger races, so we've got a busy afternoon.
Well, we got a couple other races coming up. We'll have the big twins out there, as I mentioned. We'll have the Pan Americans and FTRs, obviously the whole bunch of XR 1200s and Buells out there. We've got some of the folks from the Factory Harley racing team. Wes Orloff decided to bring some of the Buells down there. Then coming up for our final race of the day, it's called ATU. It's a run what you brung American V Twin, and you better bring a whole bunch in that, right, Kristen?
Oh, yeah. They bring just about anything in that race. You'll see some of these guys that raced earlier. They're actually probably going to line up again in that ATU class, so it'll be something exciting to watch. You know, last year or at Pitt, we saw some baggers even in it, so I'm excited to see what turns up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants a little more track time. These are sprint races. They're 7 laps long. Trust me, the riders out there know that that's plenty to get done, but you know, you want a little bit more. You head back to the truck and you're thinking to yourself, I could have did a little something extra. And they go back out in that second race and you try it. You know, you see if it would have worked or not. You look at your lap times, and people at home can actually go on and find what's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's several different apps. These guys use Speed Hive, and so Speed Hive, you can log into that. You can sign up for it. I think it's free. If it's not free, it's only a couple dollars for the whole year. But yeah, you just log on, you pick what round you wanna watch, and then it tells you what the current one is. You select baggers, and there you go. You've got the running order, which shows Shane Narbone was in first place. His fastest lap the fastest lap of the race is in pink. It was a 1:12.863, and you've got the rest of the times there. And yeah, we're gonna be ready to go here. Well, you guys have them all on pit road, so they never left. So I assume you have them under control, right? Do you want me to give another third call?
I think they left.
I got to figure out what they're doing with this.
Well, back up here in the booth, and earlier today, you and I were talking about a number of things that go down with the whole entire racing series, and one of those that I think is the most important is so many of these teams are starting to build baggers. They're going, you know what, I love the Sportster, but I want a bagger. I like the Big Twin, I want a bagger, and they're starting to build them. You're seeing the same thing from the Indian crowd as well. They're like, hey, I want to pick up one of these Challengers. I want to get out to the action. I think Carl is even buying one. One of our videographers said, I'm in the game.
He told me he put a deposit down. You will see him maybe in California, but he's thinking next year. And I told him, I was like, well, then who's going to do all this video work? He does a great job, and I'm not sure if he's going to be replaceable. So we'll see. But, you know, it's so funny. This is like a craze. These guys come out here. Even like me, you see it, you hear it, you're like, how in the world do they have these huge things out on the track making those turns? And you just want to get out there and feel it for yourself. I know Alex Fox, y'all saw earlier, did that little lap. He told me, he goes, all right, I'm racing next year. I can't do this again. He got that little taste of it just being on the track.
You know, you talk about what's going on the track, and I think probably one of the biggest things that's going on is you talk about riding hard. The hardest thing to do is find a safe place to do it. The freeway's not it. Through the city streets is not it. Come to a racetrack. Everybody's going the same direction. There's safety personnel immediately on the scene. Obviously, the fencing, the guardrails, the air fence, all those things keep people or cars from zipping across the track. There is truly no safer way to experience what's going on in the world than to go to a racetrack and do it. And the best thing, I think, to give you start with a track day. You get a couple of those under your belts.
I'm doing it.
You sort of know what's going on. And then, once the track day's done, you move into maybe going to a race like an ASRA race or a CCS race, and you start to build. We'd love to have you come out and join us. We'll be in Willow Springs in November. Now, we'll be back at Blackhawk Farms for round number 4, and that's going to be in the very near future. But if you wanted a little time, we've got about 4 months between now and when we're out in Willow Springs.
And I think you guys make it really easy for these guys to get out on the track. So for the Bagger Racing League, I'm pretty sure all you have to do is you can take a little school. Don't you all do some schooling, and then you can get out there and get on the track and race with the guys?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of track days. And Kenny, you got a report from down on pit wall.
Yeah, they were gonna move that race to the end of the day, and then the teams just said, nope, that's fine. Let's just cut it at 3 laps complete. So that's it. So the results that we saw before, that's it.
So Narbonne, you had the 2-time defending champion winning again. So round 3, you had Shane Narbonne, and then behind Shane Narbonne, we had. I'm not sure.
I believe Narbonne. It showed Janish and then Carlson, but Janish was one of the riders down, so that can't be it. So it had to be probably Carlson and then maybe Oleg.
Hawk Mazada, then Jesse Janish, maybe.
All right. We'll see you back in a little bit.
Yeah, we keep things interesting here at the BRL. Got to keep people on their toes.
Yeah, we lost a couple of riders in qualifying, so they weren't able to join us. But, yeah, it looks like, well, we'll get you the rundown because we want to be correct. After 3 laps, it could be Narbonne, Janish, and Carlson. We're going to make sure that we check with the officials before we make the announcement.
Yeah, we definitely need to check with the officials because a lot of these guys are running pretty close in points.
Points are what it's all about. And anytime you have a points race, you need to maximize those. They say you can win a championship, but you can also lose a championship by just having that off day. I think you win a championship by your worst day.
I agree with that. Been there, done that.
Absolutely. It's a tough way to go, and it looks like they're going to wrap this one up. They have cleared the grid, so as they get everything dialed in and situated, it appears that they're going to wrap up. That'll be our second race of the BRL. We've got 2 more coming up. We're going to have that big combined class with the Big Twins, the FS Cup, of course, the Icon Lightweight Twins. We'll get those all bunched up. Then we're going to have our final race of the day, and that'll be the ATUs. So this group now that's heading out on track, big part of the ASRA program. And you see them heading out. This will be another sprint race, so it'll be pretty quick action before we're right back into the swing of things.
Rob, we got to know, have you ever gotten on one of those before?
Sport bikes?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, I started off back in the 80s on the Ninja 600s, then the GSXRs, then the ZX7. Heck, I have an RG 500 Gamma that they like so much, Bridgestone bought it. So, yeah, there's nothing better than if you're going to do this, these things are saber swords. This isn't a blunt knife. These are sharp, precise pieces of machinery that'll change your day.
R6, best bike I ever had.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what, we remember kind of the Flexi Flyers, the KZ, the GPZ 750s,
Sure.
and some of the CB 900Fs, and they were amazing bikes, but they were kind of like where we're at right now, the development stages. By the time they're at where they are here, what you buy on the showroom floor,
Whoa.
that is a crazy way to go.
Remember the Honda Hurricane was a hot deal, right?
Tell you what, let's take another commercial break because we want to make sure that the people that support us get all the recognition. And when we come back, we will have our third race of the day getting ready to get going. We're going to give you some features. We're going to let you meet the riders. We're going to show you how cool these bikes are. Stay with us. We'll be back with more of the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers.
Nelson right out front, dominating the main event.
Is the world champion. This stadium's going nuts. Give it up for Scotty Brothers Riders.
I always looked at him as invincible on the track. He was awesome.
Actually saw his shadow, and I knew it was coming.
Tragic accident that left one of our recent Olympians paralyzed.
Not being able to move anything and realizing, wow, it happened to me.
Trans Performance is a leader in high-performance aftermarket parts for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. World-renowned for industry-first bolt-on turbo systems and cutting-edge motorcycle components, all made right here in the USA. Assault the street and the track with confidence. Performance-minded, performance-driven. Trask.
guys, I'm back down here with Jeff Zielinski. He was with NAMS. Now, you guys are sponsoring that class we just saw, the NAMS Bagger GP, our main class, our feature class, the class that gets everyone excited. Now, it's really unfortunate we had to end it like we did, but can you just tell us a little bit about NAMS and some of the products that these guys are using out there?
Sure. I think the biggest one that everybody's using right now is our new fuel injection system that we developed along with the guys over at Thunder Max down in Tennessee. And basically it eliminates all the CAN bus and all the crazy, quirky electronics. So it seems to make everything a little bit easier for the guys. They don't have to worry about trouble codes and whatnot. Unfortunately, though, today with a little bit of a crash and a couple mechanical breakdowns, it shortened the race. So.
It definitely shortened the race. Now, you guys have a nice little setup back here. Is there something that you can show us? Because some of these fans at home, they might not be familiar with these parts.
Yeah, we've been around since 1999. We started doing wiring harnesses and making manufactured wiring products for other companies. And we bought Badlands Electric Module Company. They were out of Sparks, Nevada. They basically prevent rapid flashing turn signals. They do all kinds of things for headlights. We do LEDs for motorcycles. Pretty much anything electrical we do, but it's not just as much like selling to drag specialties and other distributors. It's we make products for ourselves, and we also make products for other people, private label.
Well, you guys, if you're here at Blackhawk Farms, you need to get down to the NAMS tent and get your bagger all set up so you can get out on the track and maybe be in that bagger GP class too.
Right on.
Rob?
I think if everybody's going to talk to her, they're going to tell her, hey, stop by and find out what I have to offer, too. So Kristen Banks doing a great job digging up the stories down on the paddock area. You know, the stories that we often have to deal with sometimes are like just wasting a little bit of time or being, doing what we're doing now. So, hey, let's waste a little bit of time as we get ready for the next group. I want to talk a little bit about the road racing world as a whole. You know, the community that comes out to these events, you see them riding around, they know another road racer when they see one. So when they go up there talking, lean angles and tipping it in and picking it up coming out of the corners, and it's just a brotherhood. I think we should go back down on pit road and find out what's going on with Kristen Banks, though, and Alex Fox.
I'm down here with the one and only Alex Fox, the owner of Sly Fox. He's a big sponsor for Benny Carlson, who you just saw out there in the Bagger GP class. And I think we'll be seeing him later today. Is that correct?
We will be seeing Benny later today on our Pan America.
All right, now Sly Fox, can you just tell us a little bit about what your company is, what kind of products you make, and how these guys can use it on their bikes?
Yeah, we're a performance upgrade company for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Racing's kind of our passion. We build our brand around the racing culture and performance upgrades, and we're taking it to the street.
Now, I kind of threw you under the bus. I was up in the booth earlier, and I said that Alex Fox, you did your little parade lap, and you got a feel for it, and I told everyone to be on the lookout because you're going to be out there maybe on a bagger next year. Is this true?
I want to get on the track next year. We don't know what the bike is yet. I'm thinking more Pan America, but we'll see.
Hey, we don't know what the bike is, but Alex Fox is going to be on the track next year. And will you just tell us a little bit about that actual ride that you did at the beginning and what it was to celebrate?
That ride was to celebrate my uncle that passed away earlier this year that, kind of built an empire around the motorcycle industry and has helped a lot of people out. And, a big reason that we're here doing this today is because of him and his company and all the companies that are part of that umbrella. So that lap kind of... it was in honor of him and amongst other family members, my father included. The bike, it's a white number 9 bike that resembles my father's old race cars, and I could go on, but I don't want to bore you with details.
It was some really cool stuff, definitely. A tribute for Fred Fox earlier today. If you guys didn't see it, maybe you can go back and watch it. But back up to you, Rob.
Kristen, as she's down there picking up the interviews and things, I think we've got a checker flag out wrapping up the race before one of our combined classes. We don't have a lot. Most of them that are out there are Bagger GP. This one is a little bit combined. We're going to have the Icon Lightweight Twins. We're going to have the Big Twins, and we're going to have the FS Cup. So we'll have liquid-cooled bikes. They usually qualify on the front row. Then we'll move back. Well, I'll tell you what. Our buddy Robert Parker, he's one of these racers in the championship hunt, and he's in the Big Twin class.
Cool.
All right, straight off the podium from Pittsburgh, you're here in Illinois. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. This is the first track I ever rode a motorcycle on in 2018, so I've got a lot of laps around this, although it's the first time I've been out on this bike here. So relearning some brake markers and trying to figure out where I need to tip in, but feeling good so far.
Since you're a professional on this track, what's going to be the key?
You know, I think really the key is a good start, trying to make sure you take some defensive lines where you need to and getting off to a good first lap here.
You know, you talk about getting off to a good first lap. You have to get the start. You can't come through the pack on these guys. They're getting too good.
Exactly, and that start is so important. If you can get out there in that fresh air and you can start thinking about your own race and not about how you're going to get around this guy in corner 2 or 3, you get out there, keep it out there, that's the way to win a race.
Well, you know kind of some of the craziest thing. In the motocross stuff, now we're looking at some of the bikes right here, and you see the liquid-cooled Harley-Davidson Pan American that Suburban uses for Benny Carlson. Indian, the FTR power plant, both of them 1250, both of them as far into the technological side as you could get. Then here's some of the big twins. We're talking Dynas, Softails. Indian has a Chief. Now this bike here, this big air-cooled bike, that's a really potent machine. The Dyna you see over there by Claudio. Hard candy paint, so you know we got some crazy paint. The Indian looks good. Look at the seats, how they build them up. So the riders get more on top of the bike. There's the number 51 of the Australian. That's Jake Masters' bike. He's backed by Stingers and Drag Specialties, Bassani, Bridgestone tires. Of course, Suburban Harley-Davidson in front of just about all these bikes right here. And, man, it's good to see the Australians out there. XR 1200s, they tend to be the bike of choice, but we've got some really fast Buells here this weekend. Here's the guys down there, and you start to see we got the Buells, we've got XR 1200s. Here comes some of the alloy art. This is the Pan American. Now, Corey Cowan, he's out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He's been on top of this bike, and this year he has not lost a race yet. Something came up, he couldn't make it. Robbie Lane said, listen, we're going to put the number 1 bike out there, last year's championship bike. Oleg's going to be on it, though, so he rides in place of Corey Cowan. Cody Gilmore right here. If you go into the Daytona Tunnel in the Supercross start back in about 2015, right before he retired, that's him pulling the whole shot over. Filippo and all the boys, and here he is out there. Robert Parker right there in the championship hunt in the Big Twins. Great to see Hawk Mazzata back in action, and he's on an Indian Big Twin. That's the Chief. So we've got a real homologation down here. Joe Sanderson, 101. That's the rep from, he lives in Ravenna, Ohio, and he made the trip up here right next to the Promised Land. Oleg's going to head out on the track. He's going to have Benny Carlson in behind him.
This race combines 3 different classes, basically, right?
Yes, sir.
Classes, so a whole bunch of different motorcycles. They had to cross an emergency vehicle across the track, so it's just going to take like an extra, minute or so. But they were just having trouble getting coordinating that with the ambulance. So we got everybody up here ready to go, and then they decided, hey, we got to get a safety vehicle across. So, so here we are. We're just waiting for them, but they were all ready to go. Everyone's primed, ready to go. Everyone's like so excited to get this next race going. But you want to go through the grid. You've got Benny Carlson and Josh Baird up front. You've got an Indian and a Harley-Davidson drag racing into turn number 1. Behind them, you've got Hawk Mazzata and Claudio Traversa. You were talking about Arlington Heights, Illinois versus North Carolina boy, both on one on a Harley-Davidson, one on the Indian Challenger, and then back to row 7. You've got Anthony Bagma on a Yamaha FZ07. You've got Gilmore on an XR 1200 Harley. You've got Mervis on another motorcycle. So there's all kinds of stuff in this race, number 10, 11, and 12 combined.
I think I see Wes Orloff out there, a big part of the Harley-Davidson road racing program, decided it was time for him to strap the helmet and the leathers back on and get out there. You got to enjoy that whenever they have the executives come back out and mix it up. That's when you know you can't walk away from it. It's just too much of a good thing.
Well, Orloff is big in Arba also.
Absolutely,
he and
absolutely.
his wife both.
But I think it's going to be tough for any of these guys to try to run down the Pan American and the FTRs that are up front. These guys just they're come with about 126 horsepower. They really don't even unlock the ECUs on them. They're leaving them alone. Maybe lighten them up a bit with a muffler or something like that. That's about it. And then they get ready to take them to the track. They kind of are just taking parts off of them to get to that level. They're not really adding much to the Pan American. The big fairing, the bigger gas tank. And if you see a lot of them, especially what Joe Hupp from Suburban Harley figured out, they came out with the Sportster S, much more smaller bike. So he took the whole fuel system off and bolted right on. So now all of a sudden the cockpit becomes a lot smaller. The ergonomic, you can climb up on them. So that's one of the little tricks of the trade. The Pan American stock holds about 6.5 gallons. Joe's holds about 3. So, and it's a genuine Harley part. It's a direct bolt on.
There you go.
Benny Carlson, there he is. And I think you've seen him in action here when BRL came just to see the track about a year ago. So you know that he's potent. Hawk Mazzata. Now that is not an FTR, gang. That is a Chief. That's an air-cooled Indian. The bike on the front row, Josh Baird, that is an FTR liquid-cooled bike. So they got a little bit of uniqueness out there. Looks like they're going to get Hawk Mazzata up on the front. Certainly a capable individual in these 3 bikes. So we're going to see the liquid-cooled Indian take on the air-cooled Indian, and then the Pan American on the outside. The rest of shields come down.
A couple suspension differences between the two, but they look almost identical, you know, on the racetrack.
The guys from Lloyd's Garage did a great job of building those bikes. Tim Sutherland and his whole crew, they do a great job out there, and they've been with us since the beginning, and it's just great to have them here.
Yeah, it'll be fun. This will be a really interesting race, especially seeing all the different types of motorcycles and setups, different tires and everything.
Wow, Benny got a big jump off there. The Pan American hooked up. We look a little farther back. The wheels are up in the air. We've got Buells mixing it up. We've got Australians out there getting busy. We've got big twin dynas. This is truly a mixing pot of everything.
Australians, Canadians, Americans.
You name it, we've got it out here. This is the 3rd race of the BRL this weekend. Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers, and this is lightweight twins, big twins, and the FS Cup, which is, again, our FTRs and Pan Americans.
Yeah, Benny Carlson, he's a local. He doesn't live very far from here, so he gets over here anytime he can. And he's always on, you know, some of his equipment. They're always testing something. So, so he's gonna have the advantage here.
Yeah, you talk about Benny Carlson's advantage, and if this is any indication to it, looks like he's trying to break away a little bit. He's gonna try to break away. This isn't a pack you're gonna drop, though. There's some talent up there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the best riders in this BRL field are right there. But look at Carlson. He's already stretching it as they get past. This is down into 6A. That's actually the kink, and then this is really a heavy braking area down into turn number 7. This right-hander where you see the black patch right there.
Yeah, that black patch they brought in obviously gives caution, but these guys have had a chance to be out there numerous times on Friday and back. Here comes that freight train of riders all doing the knee drag around what is the final corner before the big drag race down the front. And Oleg has this Pan American on boil right now.
Yeah, trying to run down Hawk Mazzata there. Hawk didn't get a great start. He's getting shuffled back through the pack there. And as you mentioned, Oleg trying to keep up there. Oh, nice pass in turn number 2. This is going to be a good setup here as they get into turn number 3. Again, this is that really long right-hand carousel. It keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then you got to finish that corner, and then a little acceleration before you get to the bus stop here, and then now it starts to open up into these 2 big double left-hand turns. Actually 3 corners there, but if you're doing it right, it's all one great big left-hand turn, and they're just increasing speed till they get to right here. This is where they start to slide. They'll slide all the way out to the edge of the racetrack and then hammer down 2 gears going into this corner. It has a slight bank to it. It's real nice. You can get on the gas, keep going up through the shifts as they get into the kink. This is really, really fast area. You're almost, this is the second fastest area of the whole track. You really don't get the perspective of speed from this angle.
Here's one of those Buells starting to creep up. He's bringing Oleg along with him, and it looks like they might have caught up to Hawk Mazzata. We got a freight train, a Buell. There's Josh Baird right there. He's on the Lloyd's Garage, and here comes the pack in behind him, and we look at what's happening. Oleg drops out behind Mazzata, breaks out of the draft, but Mazzata shuts the door on him, gets right back in front of him.
Yeah, Mazzata, we talked about racecraft a little bit earlier on. Mazzata's going to have the racecraft. Bagma's right there, and then Oleg behind them. You've got Orloff, Parker, Gilmore, Masters, Campbell, and Traversa.
You know the thing I like, Anthony Bagma right now, he came out to Pittsburgh. He won the first day in the lightweights, but then went home. He had enough. He's back here, though, so he might hang out with us all weekend, and we certainly hope he does.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's had some good times. He's been pretty consistent in practice and qualifying and everything. So, hopefully he'll he'll be able to stick it out there, and he's got a good shot at a podium here.
Yeah, you talk about the podium, and everybody wants that. Now, there's going to be 3 first-place finishes in this race, 3 seconds and 3 thirds, so it's not quite what you'll see. Carlson and Baird are out in the FS Cup. Hawkmazada's Big Twin, Bagma's Icon Lightweight. Oleg, he's up there on a Pan American. He's mixing it up with the top 3. He'd be 3 and a Wes Orloff. So Bagma and Orloff, 2 of the seasoned up veterans, they're running 1 and 2 right now.
Yeah, and you see they've checked out. You see them all the way to the end of the other straightaway as they were showing these top 3 riders coming out of turn 7. But this is the battle on the racetrack. These 3 riders coming into turn number 1 between Mazada, that 56 of, Oleg is that number 1. Oh my gosh, what a great move around the outside.
He was looking for that opening, and I think that he got that thing up on boil, the liquid-cooled Pan American Harley-Davidson alloy art. Robbie Lane and his crew, Justin and everybody, working incredibly hard to make sure that bike's always ready to go. Corey Cowan has been racing it for the majority of its season. You look down here, some of the campers that have been with us all weekend, and the pit crews. They've had a great time here at Blackhawk. What a picturesque facility.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. You know, they showed that tree line there. It's one of the best places to watch from underneath the trees. It's nice and cool. Just sitting under there with a cooler, and you're ready to go.
Well, it's cool right now because as we continue to look at the laps, 3 in the books, I believe we're on lap number 4 right now, a couple more to go. Wes Orloff, rider number, I think he's 34 if I'm not mistaken. Let me get a little check here so I know who it is. 874, 870. I knew there was a 4 in there somewhere. So 874. And this pack right here, they're in it. Oleg trying to do some work right now. Hawkmazada. And I really like what Anthony Bagma's doing in the Icon Lightweight Twins class right now. Putting pressure. Looks like we've got some smoke and some movement here.
Somewhere. Yeah, you see the halfway flags there, so so that's 4 laps in the books.
Guys are close right now. Everything's getting a little bit more unique as to what's going on. So Carlson, Baird, Hawkmazada, Oleg Payek, Anthony Bagma, and Wes Orloff right now.
Race number 13, first call.
So you look over here at round number 3, about to be in the books. This will be our 3rd race of the BRL weekend. We have 1 more to go, and that'll be the ATU class coming up in just a bit. That'll be the ultimate run what you brung. So we'll see a lot of these guys back in action. But Benny Carlson right now, number 45, Suburban Harley-Davidson. Joe Hupp and his crew, they're celebrating the 120th anniversary of Harley. Their parking lot,
look at this lead,
is jammed full of vendors and spectators. If you're on TV right now, that guy standing there, that's the owner. He's like, my crew's so good, I'm going to do what I love.
Yeah.
His mom was out here today, drove Paula Fox around in the T-Bird, so they love racing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Carlson, Benny Carlson, he's shown everybody his local track experience. I have a ton of respect for Joshua Baird. Baird came out in qualifying this morning. It was one of the fastest times by quite a bit. He picked up on this racetrack so quickly, and every time he's on the track, he is on rails. Yeah, he's a little bit farther back from Benny Carlson, but for never being here before, he's thrown down some really good lap times that he should be really proud of. And there's a battle back behind him. So again, several different classes here, but these guys are all running very similar lap times. A 114.2, the fastest, on the track, and then back to, right behind Orloff there, 119. So, less than 5 seconds separates first from, almost 10th. So some really good strong times from these guys, never being here before, putting on some really good races for all the folks at Parts Unlimited and all the other sponsors that are here. And so here's a nice pass right into to one of the final corners. That's 6 and 6A. Again, back on the one of the fastest parts of the racetrack here.
White flag's out. White flag's out. That means that we are starting to run out of time for this. And look at Bagma. Bagma continues to work on Hawkmazada. Hawkmazada on the Indian Chief. Bagma on a Buell, and it's a giant drag race down that front straight. Robert Parker's in a good one right now with Wes Orloff, I believe.
Oh, here we go. It pulls out of the draft. See if Mazada can make this stick. There it is. Puts the Buell back 1 more spot as he takes that Indian up 1 more spot. Let's see if he can hold on to it. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky for Mazada. That's a really fast turn, too, that left-hander there, and there's not a lot of runoff, so it's really, you're on the gas, and you use the entire racetrack there.
Well, he used it all up to his advantage because he was able to keep Bagma behind him, and we see him tighten up one more time.
Here he goes. Now he's got a couple more bike lengths lead there. So if he can finish this lap strong, he'll be able to hold on to that spot. Here's Carlson to the checker.
Checker flag, big lead right now. Joe Hupp, double fist pump. Benny Carlson, Big Bend, Wisconsin, brings home the win on the number 45 Suburban Pan American.
There you go. Nice ride for Benny. I think that his sponsors are going to be proud this on the Suburban Motors team. There's Baird on the number 42, and then here's the battle. Here's the battle to the finish. This is into the final corner, hard braking area, turn number 7. You see if we're going to see if Mazzata can hold on to the draft here to the checkered flag. And here it comes. They're going to pull. He's going to see that Buell pull out in the draft. We'll see what they do on timing and scoring. It looked pretty close, but it looked like Mazzata might have got him.
I think he held him off by literally a split second. Fist pump. You know what? This right here, these guys, they didn't win, but they put on the race of the race, I would say.
Look at that. It showed the timing and scoring showing Oleg got him.
Well, Oleg was right in front. It was Bagma and Mazzata that were battling over that fourth and fifth. Oleg had got him. Now, Oleg's up there. He's on the Pan American from Alloy Arts, so I'm sure Corey Cowan's going, all right, good job making sure you bring my bike home. It's been undefeated this year. That's in third place. I think that's pretty solid work right there. Well, that is an outstanding battle right there. And that race is in the books. We've got one more Bagger Racing League race to go. And we got Carlson, Baird, Payek, Mazzata, Bagma, Wes Orloff in 6th. But Orloff would have been, I believe, 3rd or 2nd in the Big Twin. Cody Gilmore behind him. Robert Parker in the Big Twin. Jake Masters in 9th overall. And Colin Campbell, stunt rider, got his racing license. Now he's a road racer, so great to have him as well. Metzler Pro Stock Bagger class, round number 3 from Blackhawk Farms in the book. What are we doing? Race recap, folks, and we're going to take it back and show you how it happened. A big start from Suburban's Benny Carlson launches out there, picked up that big start, and Hawk Mazzata, look at a wheelie and off the line. Bagma was in there. We've got Orloff switching around back there, trying to find a way to punch through. And they set sail here. 3rd BRL race of the weekend. We got one more big one to go, and this one showed Benny Carlson from Big Bend, Wisconsin, that he knew the fast way around this racetrack. Cody Gilmore was out in the mix as well. Josh Baird on that Lloyd's Garage FTR put in some solid work in the big drag race here. It was left, it was right, it was the Alloy Art Pan American that went to work on Hawk Mazzata. But Anthony Bagma on the Buell showed everybody. Don't ever count these Buells out. Eric Buell knew what he was doing when he designed it. He made his way back around, but they had to do the work. And you see this 3-pack. They were together all race long. Mazzata, Bagma, and Payek. Big drag race all in tow. Wes Orloff comes into view as they make that white flag run. Bagma took one more shot. He lined him up in the crosshairs one more time, but Hawk Mazzata shut the door on him. It was a drag race. Bagma jumped out of the draft. Did he jump out too early? Because as they come to take the checkered flag, Benny Carlson picks up the win. Joe Hupp, double fist pump. And here came the drag race down between Bagma and Hawk Mazzata. Mazzata by a couple bike lengths. Bagma closed up on him. He had looked the lap before. Was this going to be the one? But at the checkers, Hawk Mazzata held him off by a bike, and Bagma on the 56 Buell finished us strong with the win in the Icon Lightweight Twins. Crowd over at the Parts Unlimited booth all day long has been having a great time. They had ice cream over there today. I should have went down and got some. I love ice cream. 55 years of racing here at this beautiful facility. Seems like it gets older every time we talk about it. I thought it was just 50 a minute ago. The crowds, we had the Cycle Source Custom Bike Show that was going on all afternoon long here. Chris Callen and Heather doing a great, great job of putting the custom bike community together. And they brought them out, and the podium is starting to get situated down there. Benny Carlson's bike, rider number 45, was the one that is sitting down there. I'll tell you what, let's go down to Kristen Banks. And Kristen, what's going on that podium?
Thanks, Rob. We're down here with your DP Brakes FS Cup podium. We're going to start with your third place finisher, Oleg. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name, but it is Oleg. Y'all can figure out how his last name's pronounced. Now, you had to step in for your teammate this weekend and jump on this Pan American that you've never raced. Tell me about it.
It's Oleg Pionik for everyone. But, yeah, I don't blame you for not being able to say my last name. I had big shoes to fill. Unfortunately, Corey Cowan couldn't be here, and he's been kicking ass on this bike. Yeah, I think he swept all wins so far this year. So, I knew I had big shoes to fill, so I didn't quite make it to the top step, but we got on the podium, which is great, considering, we've only had a few laps on this bike. The Harley-Davidson Pan American is such a great platform, and I think this thing is pretty much, stock with some bars and some body work thrown at it. And, I mean, it goes great. It's easy to ride. It's an awesome, fun bike to ride. I just want to say thanks to Alloy Art. I'm riding their 99 Mullet GP Bagger, and that's the bike we've been focusing on this weekend, and we've made some progress on that. We still have some ways to go to get to the front, but I'm happy to see the podium for once on this bike. And so thank you, Bridgestone Tires, thank you, Alloy Art, and thank you to Galfer Brakes for stepping up and hooking us up with some awesome brakes. I was catching everyone on the brakes out there.
Well, congratulations, Oleg, on your third place finish. Now we're going to step it on over to your second place finisher, Josh Baird. Now, Josh, this track is a little different than what we've been seeing, and it's your first time here, but some of these other guys have more experience. How did you feel out there? Did you feel like you finally got a feel for it after a little practice?
Yeah, I definitely did. I'm still learning. I mean, any track you go to, there's so many feeder lines. I'm sure Benny knows all of them, but with the Bridgestone tires and all the work we've been doing at home, the bike was feeling pretty good underneath me, so I'll see if I can go a little faster in the next race.
Well, congratulations on that second place finish, Josh Baird. All right, guys, your first place finisher, your winner of the DP Brakes FS Cup is Benny Carlson. Now, Benny, tell me, how good does it feel as the hometown boy to come to your hometown track and stand on top of this podium?
Yeah, it feels good. We got a lot of friends and family, and hometown sponsors, Drag Specialties, Suburban Motors, Harley-Davidson's, Live Fox here. So home crown, maybe a little bit of hometown advantage, but it's good to come away with a win.
Well, congratulations, guys, to Benny Carlson, your DP Brakes FS Cup winner.
Well, it's great to have them guys pick up the wins and get the crew down there to have this great thing. We've got a couple of other awards we're going to be handing out as well. We had the big twins. We had the Icon Lightweight Twins, and I know they're working feverishly down there on the podium, and the crowd's getting their photos as they hand out the hardware here in the BRL, and we'll get the rest of the crew lined back up. There's the top three. Benny Carlson, Oleg, Josh Baird down there on the podium for the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. Great to see them and Benny down there hoisting it up, letting everybody know that he's on the top step. Oleg, you can see the concentration in his eyes. He's going to be back in action coming up in our final race, and I have a feeling that he is going to be raring to go. Robbie Lane down there. The folks from Bridgestone, Big James, giving him the knuckles. Lloyd's Garage. That's Lloyd and Tim Sutherland down there who run Lloyd's Garage. Great to have them with us. They joined us over at Mustangs on Thursday night for the kickoff party. The folks there, they were incredible. Again, Jimmy did a magnificent job making us feel incredibly welcome down there. The food, everything, the environment was wonderful, so it was great. They'll get these bikes up out of the way. And again, they'll head back to the paddock. We have one more BRL race to go. And we'll have that chance to get out on the track. watch some of these sport bikes come down into turn one. So we're going to have the big twin and icon podiums coming up in just a second. Kristen's down there. We'll get those bikes moved around. We'll get everybody lined up. This will give us a chance to see some of the other best in the business down there. We have the Icon Lightweight Twins, and we have the Andrews Big Twin class. So that'll be pretty impressive to see the podium down there for those folks. And once we have them all lined up, I have a feeling that we'll be bringing them all in, get their hardware passed out, make sure that all of the race crews down there get the recognition. They work harder than anybody. They work on these bikes all night long. Josh Runlet and his crew doing great work. Folks from Lloyd's Garage, Suburban Harley, all doing it. How about Robbie Lane over at the Alloy Art, doing it pretty much by himself this weekend. He brought a couple folks out with him, Justin and the crew. Then you move up to Nick Trask Turbo Program. So a lot of great people down there in that area. And we're going to get this big twin podium lined up. We'll get Hawk Mazzata and the rest of the crew down there. They'll have this opportunity to really, really experience what's going on in this great world of road racing right now. Track down there is hot, and we've got some exciting sport bike race action coming up. But they're getting the podium lined up down there, and in just a moment, we'll head down to the podium. Kristen Banks will give us an update. Gang, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have the podium in the Big Twins class. We'll be back with more from Blackhawk Raceway at the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers after these messages.
Nelson right out front, dominating the main event. Winnipeg is the world champion. This stadium's going nuts. Give it up for Scotty Brothers Riders.
I always looked at him as invincible on the track. He was awesome.
Actually saw his shadow, and I knew it was coming.
Tragic accident that left one of our recent Olympians paralyzed.
Not being able to move anything and realizing, wow, it happened to me.
Yeah. I don't think there is one.
Trask Performance is a leader in high-performance aftermarket parts for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. World-renowned for industry-first bolt-on turbo systems and cutting-edge motorcycle components. All made right here in the USA. Assault the street and the track with confidence. Performance-minded, performance-driven. Trask.
Back live at Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers from Blackhawk Farms Raceway. And we just had our third BRL main event of the day. A lot of action, a lot of people picking up the hardware down there. And we're going to find a way to go back down to the podium here in a short time and make sure these racers and their crews get the accolades they deserve, as they'll get the podium dialed in and an opportunity to talk to Kristen Banks. But down to the podium, looks like Kristen's ready to go. Kristen, who you got?
Hey guys, I'm down here with your Big Twins podium. Now some of the podium is missing. We had your third place finisher, Claudio Transverse, who I'm not going to blame him. It's so hot down here. He probably went back and got in the AC, but we're going to go to our second place finisher, Bob Parker. Now, this is the first track you've ever ridden at. However, you did crash during qualifying, and you still made it back up here. What did it take to get up on the podium?
It absolutely took a team effort. I cracked the head pipe on my exhaust, and the guys over at Two Boss, both Chris and Logan, a father and son duo that helped build this bike, took it about 30 minutes away, welded it up, got it back on the bike, and got me out on the grid. So absolutely huge effort from the team, the guys over at Two Boss, S&S for helping put this bike together. I'm extremely excited.
Well, congratulations on your second place finish. Now, you got to go get race ATU, so you better go get ready. Good luck. All right, guys, and then your first place finisher is Hawk Mazada. Now, Hawk, this is your first time on this Indian Chief, and you put it on top of the podium. Tell me about this Chief out there on that track.
Yeah, so the Lloyd's Garage guys just built this motorcycle. It's been a long time coming, but, I mean, it turned out beautiful. Aesthetically, it's gorgeous, and it works. I mean, I was a little nervous starting on almost pole for, I don't know why, but I did. Just because I really don't have enough laps yet. It threw a chain yesterday, so we had limited laps. But I just chipped away at it. I didn't want to throw it down the road, and the bike's going to be, I think, pretty tough to beat once we get it set up and, you know, chassis-wise working good, and it's fast.
Well, congratulations to Hawk Mazada, your Andrews Big Twin first place finisher. All right, guys, I don't know if y'all want me to stay on the podium, but I'm telling you, our first two guys decided to go get in the AC, but we have our third place finisher in the Icon Lightweight Twins, Cody Gilmore. Now, you started near the back of the grid just because there were multiple classes in this. What was your mindset going into this race after the start?
I just wanted to get a good start and go out and have a good time. It was I actually got an awesome jump. If I wouldn't have been on the third row, I think I could have passed everyone going down that straight because I came out super good, but I had to slow down a little bit because there was a kind of a traffic jam. So it could have been really good if I would have been a little smarter and maybe went to the outside instead. But no, it was good. I had a good race. I ended up doing some battling with Bob over there, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, man, them Beals are running good out there, and I'm just pumped to get a Harley on the podium, though.
Congratulations to your third place finisher in the Icon Lightweight Twin, Cody Gilmore.
Cody Gilmore doing a great job down there, and looks like these guys will be making their way off the track. That can only mean one thing. We might be getting ready for the final BRL race of the weekend. Drag Specialties BRL. Coming up this evening, the folks from Icon have their booty bike race. To me, a little exhibition, a little chance to run the exhibition course, and that's going to be something we're all excited about. Looking forward to seeing as they get ready to go, and give you some more ideas and information coming up shortly. Now, our final race of the day is the Run What You Brung. Now there's everybody getting together. Hawk Mazada, Robert Parker, and Cody Gilmore down on the podium. Icon and Andrew strongly represented down there. And again, the Drag Specialties Battle of the Bagger. Hawk wants to get the family up there on the podium with them. Josh Baird as well. That's the family. Getting all their hardware, and all the hard work pays off. The Lloyd's Garage crew. There's the baby. Hawk gets a little bit of loving from his daughter. She's going to share that podium experience with Dad here at the BRL, and that's what we're all about, everybody. The family, getting everybody all out here to the races. Beautiful little girl. Hawk Mazada's got to be awful proud of his family. And again, the Drag Specialties Battle of the Bagger, big twin, lightweight twin, and We had the FS Cup all combined out there. Now we have the Zippers. ATU will be our final race of the situation here. Make a little announcement out there to the crowd, because they're going to want to do this with us. The folks that are out there know coming up tonight, the gang from Icon brought these Booney bikes. Now, they were built, 6 of them. Kurt Walter doesn't fool around. When he builds a bike, he goes, I want 6 great journalists all together, artists, to build these bikes. So then they were built. When we were at Pittsburgh, we had a little demo. Everybody went bananas and had a great time. Tonight, we're doing it again. And this is going to be our final BRL race of the afternoon. This one is called the Zippers ATU. It's a run what you brung.
Let's have at it. We call that Unlimited Grand Prix in our world. So yeah, run what you brung, Unlimited Grand Prix, whatever it is, this is going to be a blast. 9 motorcycles going at it here. Our final race of the day at Blackhawk Farms Raceway. First of 2 days here. Actually 3 days if you count the practice day yesterday. But we're having a blast here. Great weather, incredible track conditions. We almost saw a track record here this morning, so really, really exciting racing here. If you're in the Rockford, South Beloit area, which why would you not be, you come on out to Blackhawk Farms Raceway tomorrow. We're going to have a ton of more races here, including the featured races from the BRL series. You can get autographs from these guys. There's merchandise here, some really cool BRL merchandise and stuff. So having a blast out here at Blackhawk Farms.
You know, you talk about the merchandise and the folks at the BRL Speed Shop. They told me earlier, they said, look, the popular sizes, you know, that XL, the double XL. I call them double medium. And then you got your larges. I mean, they sell out fast. And you know the tough thing is your favorite color does. If you're out here, you want to take home a keepsake. It's stuff that you can't buy off the rack at, you know, a traditional store. You buy it here. Trust me, when you walk into your favorite hangout spot, or better yet, even send your kids back to school, the kids at school know that they have the coolest parents in the world because they went head to toe in BRL and ASRA merch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I was down there earlier talking to him about the merchandise. I picked up a new muscle shirt because, you know, I got the guns to show here. And so I'll put that on at the end of the race day. I'll take my race shirt off. We'll throw on the gun show shirt and sport that for the black for the benefit tonight, the Red Flag Fund benefit. You can see here the starting procedure. This is a perfect opportunity to watch the starting procedure. Just like with World Superbike and Motor Grand Prix, we have the starter who's on the front row there. She'll have the crimson flag, bringing everybody to a stop and wait till everybody gets in their grid position. The grid marshals then will check to make sure everybody's in the right grid spot. So there you go. There's the number 56 machine.
That's Bagma. He's on it. I'm telling you, this guy is going to be tough to beat, I think, today. Josh Baird's going to have to be back. Anthony Bagma. Oleg's back out there mixing it up. Robert Parker's back out throwing it down. And I think they probably enjoyed that little bit of a longer podium in the race between them because, again, when we saw the track, you saw the heat coming off the track. Now, they put tire warmers on, and you still need to do that just for, obviously, maximum track. But I have a feeling that the heat is not leaving these tires today.
No, absolutely not. No. Everything is optimal right now. We've seen a lot of lap times from the fast guys here at near track record speeds. So this is going to be a great race, and we've got a great race this weekend.
Oleg had to draw from the pit road on the number 1 machine. I have a feeling these baggers are about to come under attack.
What a disadvantage
from Oleg. Josh Baird way out front right now, and Bagma puts in some solid work. Robert Parker, you mentioned how many laps he had here. Wes Orloff tucked in right behind him.
Yeah, Jimenez there as well, Bray Miller, Smock, and then you mentioned Oleg coming off the pit road. Oleg's got some work to do. He's got 7 laps to get through these guys.
And you know, sometimes guys like Oleg, and obviously he's experienced, he kind of likes maybe a challenge like this. Maybe, all right, I'm going to come from pit road. I'm going to start to put in some work right here. And you can see he's already caught the back of the pack, and this is halfway through lap 1.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to catch Baird, that's for sure. Baird's been real strong for the entire day.
Oh, no, he's a factor every single time we see him out there. And here comes a couple of these riders. Baird is on the front right now. Yep. Bagma on the Buell, back in number 2 spot. We look slightly farther back from that. I see Wes Orloff, Harley-Davidson boss man for racing. Yep. He's there. Robert Parker. Now, what did he say? First race he ever rode was here. Now we see some of the baggers come into play. Now, a lot of these bikes are pro stock baggers. Oleg's already got around Smock, and oh, it looks like we have a tough break right now.
Man.
Hate to see these guys have to pull off the track. What I do like, though, the etiquette. You know something's wrong, get off the race line, get her down on cold pit, let's get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, and it doesn't really vary racetrack to racetrack. That's something, hey, look, if you're off the line, if you're off the pace, put a hand up, get off the racetrack, and make room for everyone else.
Emilio joined us in Pittsburgh, and he had been track schools, he'd been to race camps, he'd been to some track days, but he's really starting to get his flow going, and I think he'll be a factor as he goes on. He and Craig Braymiller. Oleg right now, you see that he's caught onto that pack right now. We're into the tree line. I think he's going to make a move here. There's one. Oh, he got the door shut on him. I thought he was going to get a twofer coming out of that corner. Here we go. Lines him up one more time. He's going to go back to the inside. Folks that are waiting to come in are going to see him make that right-hander. He comes back up to the back right now. So as we see, he's already got around Braymiller. He's going after Emilio Jamir. Here he comes. Oleg tips to the inside, but Julio, I'm telling you, this guy's got some skills. Shuts the door for the moment right now, and you look at Oleg, he still has to do some more work.
Yeah, a little bit to go there. I mean, and, the rest of the guys who checked out up there, he's got some work to do, but he's got a nice draft. There's a huge pocket of air right behind those guys. And it's a pretty quick straightaway. It's not a long straightaway, but some of the fast guys can get up to about 150 miles an hour here.
Yeah, they got a nice, just enough straightaway. You dip it into the corner. You can see right now, Julio, he rides for the shop out of Buffalo, New York. So he had a little bit of travel to get here as well. Joined us at Mustangs the other night for the kickoff party. And in behind him right now, I believe that may be Craig Braymiller. These two are best buddies, and Emilio started road racing because he saw what Craig's doing. It's a long ride back to Buffalo if you edge him out by one spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jimenez and Braymiller are back there fighting. Right in front of them is that battle with Oleg and Parker, and then in front you've got Baird back.
What I like about this right now is you're looking at the lap times, and Braymiller was quicker on the last go-round by about, what, 1.4 maybe?
Yep.
That's a nice little gap, and we'll see if he's able to make the pass. Now, he has to move up on his buddy. He doesn't want to get too rough with his pal. We'll see if he gets him setting up coming out of this corner right here.
Should be able to get a nice little draft right here down the short chute.
Oh, that's a nice little drag race going. Road glide on road glide crime right there. It seems like most of them have gone with the road glide, the stable fairing. They're not using the bat wing you see on the street glide as much. You see the road glide. There's that big, long front straight. And you can see these riders now tucked in behind. It must be like drafting a Mack truck coming down the front street.
Yeah, well, and some of them you'll see that they have a closed-in nose, and some of them have that nose that's open, so it allows the air to flow through it. There's a little bit more or less resistance there based on what how they've chosen to fill that front area.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to make sure when we did this is that bikes maintain that an appearance that you could identify. That's a road glide. That's right. What I ride. That's a street glide. That's my buddy rides.
That's right.
And again, an FXR, a Softail. So it was important to maintain the integrity of what they were, and these guys have done a great job of doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was impressed yesterday. I was walking around looking at all the motorcycles as they were rolling in and getting set up and going through a lot of their practice and testing and everything. And everything from the Harleys, the Indians, the Buells, everything else. There's a lot of really, really well-prepared motorcycles here. And the cool thing is that they're all helping each other out as well. There aren't a lot of Indian parts floating around, but man, something breaks on one of those HDs, chances are your buddy's got one.
Well, I got to be honest with you, the Indian crowd has done a really good job as well. I know they've been around since the beginning. They had a little lapse there for about 50 or 60 years in the middle. But the dealers that they've partnered up with are passionate about this. They're coming out. I know there's deals, like we had Johnny K's, for instance, sponsor the Lloyd's Garage team at Pitt, and I know that some of these other teams halfway through right there, and definitely Oleg has made some moves because he's now around Parker, and if I'm not mistaken, he's up to third overall in this ATU class.
Yeah, he should show up on timing and scoring a little bit better this time. As Josh Baird continues to just dial it down, a 1:15.333, backs it up with 1:15.8, so he's a couple seconds faster than the rest of the field. He's just off on a nice Saturday a fun ride at this point. But once in a while you'll see from this overhead shot, you'll see the paddock area for the BRL guys. It's cool because we were able to have, and it's just off to your right there, you'll be able to, or actually just off the top of the screen there's a whole paddock area just for the BRL riders, and it's just really cool to have that section, and you hit that right as you come in the front gate.
Well, I think the folks that were coming out here, especially when we had Drag Specialties and Parts Unlimited have their corporate picnic here this summer, they were pulling in. Not only were they seeing the cool bikes that were there, they're seeing friends. There's so many of the Drag Specialties vendors that do this, the alloy arts, the fueling, the folks from Trask, Daryl Bassani, and man, I miss Daryl Bassani here today. Big shout out to the captain himself. So Daryl, we can't wait to see you back at a BRL event soon. There's the number one, Oleg. He's now up in the third. Anthony Bagma, shout out to my man here on a Buell,
rocking it.
Guy is, and you can tell that he is just road race kind of. That's his jam. That's where he's at.
Yep,
loves it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And again, back to Josh Baird. I know we talked a lot about him already, but that 42 machine, that Indian, he's got that thing rolling really, really well today. The Lloyd's Garage guys have done a great job, and they didn't have an easy night last night either, because Hawk Mazada threw a chain yesterday, put a huge hole in the back of his engine, and they spent all night trying to get parts. They actually had to drive off somewhere last night to get parts, bring them all back. They rebuild everything, put it all back together again, and they haven't had the easiest weekend. So hats off to that Lloyd's Garage Indian crew for getting everything back together again and having, and still allowing Baird to be able to just, stay on track and keep rolling. This is into turn number 6. This is, like I said, a slightly banked turn. That's the airstrip off to the left there. The crossover rail, you see the cars all queued up, ready to leave there. And then this is where you just keep accelerating all the way down through there into a kink. And it's one of the fastest sections of the racetrack, and there's your BRL paddock.
I was thinking maybe that airport was there so Kay Banks could land her private jet there when she comes to visit us. You never know.
Yeah.
Could be a helicopter, could be a jet. We're not sure.
Yeah, it's just long enough. You might be able to get the G5 in there.
This is going to be a tough last lap. Wes Orloff is in the number 3 spot, and he's on a Buell. Oleg had to start from, I think it started on pit lane almost as he joined us. We're looking at the lap times, and Oleg is about 2 seconds, not quite 1.9 quicker, about 2 seconds. We're running out of time, but he's caught Wes Orloff. Catching somebody's one thing. Now what are you going to do with them when you get there?
Yep, and you got 1 lap.
Yeah, so you know that it's either going to be, I'm going to settle, checkered flag is out. Look at the fist pump for Josh Baird on the Lloyd's Garage Indian. So
what a great ride.
Josh Baird picks up the win. This is ATU, so Bagma should be in the number 2 spot. Wes Orloff, if Oleg doesn't get him on the last straight, we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, they're just showing the parade lap.
Hey, that's okay. We're coming up. We see some of the baggers. That's Roger Smock right there from Meadville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Bangma across, so he's got his lap in, so he's solid 2nd place. Here's that race for 3rd place.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. And Oleg got him at the checkered flag on the Alloy Art Pan American. And Oleg Pianchek picks up a number 3 spot. Wes Orloff turned in a great ride, moved back to the number 4 position.
Man, hats off to Oleg. That was one heck of a run. 7 laps to go that distance under those times and conditions, and to be able to pull off a last lap draft pass at the checkered flag, just as you'd write it up in the script.
Talking about scripts, and I know a lot of the folks are going to be sticking around tonight. They got the big red, it's a red flag dinner.
Fun.
Red Flag Fun dinner.
Yep.
And then
at Taco Bar at 6:30.
Taco Bar 6:30. So anybody that wants to participate in that, small little donation, because we want to make sure we can continue to do this. But then we've got the Icon Booty Bike Challenge. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be over here. We'll see if we can't even raise a couple more bucks. Maybe we'll have the fans throw in some for their crowd favorites. You never know what's going to happen. Baird, Bagma, Pianchek, Wes Orloff, Robert Parker, Craig Braymiller, Emilio Jimenez, Roger Smock, Tony Tucker, Steve Chamberlain rounded out the field.
There you go.
This was the ATU class, and the folks from Zippers put that together. A little replay there shows the big start and all the different bikes, and it's just amazing how we watched Oleg join the race from pit road, and he started to make waves immediately.
Yeah, that was a fun race. We're watching one of the replays here on the playback, And what a wild race that was. I mean, that's the last thing you want is, number one, to feel like you're going to miss your race and then have to start from pit road, knowing that all the fast guys are at least 100 yards in front of you before you get going again. But to be able to make up that time, hats off. And he just keeps getting faster and faster and more consistent. I can't imagine what Oleg's going to look like, by the final race tomorrow afternoon.
Well, we see him here from the eye in the sky. He looks like a tailor. He's trying to thread the needle right there. He comes up the inside, makes the first pass. That was on Bray Miller. He had Yamirez lined up, and he put that liquid cooled 1250 cc alloy yard Pan American to the stop. Emilio did shut the door on there. I gotta like that right there. Gets all up on the front brakes. Oleg had to reset, but here drops out of the draft, puts that alloy yard Pan American on Boyle and comes on by and picks up that spot. Then it was late in the race where he had to go to work on Wes Orloff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hey man, thanks for letting me hang out with you today. What a blast. You guys do such a great job with the Bagger Racing League, brought to you by Drag Specialties and all these great sponsors out here this weekend. If you haven't made it out to a BRL race, make sure you find them on the calendar. Get out to a BRL race. They've got a fantastic vendors, sponsors that are here with them, of course, including Drag Specialties, the one and only Parts Unlimited and their whole crew. Great to have all of them out here this weekend. Several of their vendors here on Vendors Row. It's what a great event to be part of. And so thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for letting me be part of the TV crew this weekend. And we look forward to tomorrow. We got a ton of races on tap for tomorrow. And as you mentioned, the taco bar coming up tonight at 6:30 here at the cafe. We're going to have all kinds of other fun stuff going on tonight. So make sure you stick around for a little bit. And we'll be back. We're going to wrap up the TV show here a little bit, and then we'll get back on the mic here to wrap things up from beautiful Blackhawk Farms Raceway in South Beloit, Illinois.
Don't think you're off the hook. We got another whole day tomorrow, so don't get comfortable. I need you in bed early tonight. So round 3 will officially be in the book shortly here. That means round 4 coming up tomorrow. The weather looks beautiful. The riders are working. You know that anybody that had a mechanical, they're going to be working feverishly tonight to get it all done. So that is going to make it even more exciting. But tonight, the Red Flag Fun Dinner, the Icon Boonie Bike Challenge, and just being out here, these great race fans, the folks from Azra, CCS have been amazing, and certainly the folks from BRL. Now, as we get ready to go, let's head down to Kristen Banks, and she's going to talk to Oleg.
KB.
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with your Zippers ATU podium. We're going to start with your third-place finisher, Oleg. Now, tell me about that picture-perfect checkered flag finish you just had to claim third.
Yeah, unfortunately we had a few problems, and so we had to start from pit row. I had no idea what place I was in. I sort of just took it easy. My tires weren't too warm and started picking off people one by one. And the bike was working well, and so it looks like, Alloy put a great bike under me, and it was able to get me all the way to third place. To be honest, whoever that was that I passed on the finish line, I feel bad. It must hurt to be, third the whole time and, come across and someone comes right by you at the very end. But it was a cool photo finish. I hope it was great on video. And thanks to Bridgestone Tires for, putting some great tires underneath us. Thanks for Galfa Brakes. Thank you to Alloy Art, and thank you to Corey Cowan for letting me ride his bike for the weekend. It's an awesome bike to ride.
Hey, Corey, he didn't mess it up. It's still in the right, how he left it, I would assume. But, hey, a race is a race, and you finished third. Now our second-place finisher, Anthony Bangma, he also finished first in the lightweight twins and didn't show up. I'm not sure where he is, so if you're watching this, Anthony, we have 2 trophies for you. But, hey, you didn't have to answer my question, so you're all good. Now, your first-place finisher in Zippers ATU is Josh Baird. Now, Josh, we were just talking to you on the podium. You kind of told me that you feel like you don't really have it all figured out. But for all of us watching at home, it looks like you're completely dialed out there.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever have it completely figured out, but it's getting better. I'm learning some lines and stuff like that. Bridgestone Tires, keeping the bike planted. All the guys at the shop, my buddy Josh Ladd, me and him working on this bike really helped my program out tremendously, so it's been awesome.
Well, congratulations to your first place finish in Zippers ATU.
I certainly appreciate you hanging out with us today. I know you've got more work to do, and as I mentioned, you're not off the hook. We got tomorrow. This is Rob Bitus for the Bagger Racing League. We certainly hope everybody that tuned in for day 1 of our third round. Had a great afternoon. The action, the drama, the suspense, it all happens at road racing in the BRL. We'll be back with round 4 tomorrow from Blackhawk Farms, South Beloit, Illinois. Rob Vitus from the Drag Specialties Battle of the Baggers. All my great announcing crew and Kristen Banks. See you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic evening.